sunshine is all around us, and there are beautiful clouds where you are. That's how I know that these worries will not last. I can see you've been crying and staying wide awake. Asking yourself why the journey is so tough. They say tough times never last, only tough people do. So don't stop believing, I know it's gonna be better. Say la, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, boom, la, 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 ba-dum. Can't be loved by everybody, it's impossible, you know. And trust me, it's okay, so let the toxic people go. Your peace within is more priceless than a pearl. You got to be happy, cause life's just way too short. Don't stress the little things, they will only waste your time. Just take it easy, easy like a nursery rhyme. And I'm singing, I know it's gonna be okay. So gotta be happy, man. Good days, bad days, it's all part of life. But you must keep the groove on and enjoy every single day. I'm sure you've had some happy days before. So what makes you think you can't have more? Can't have more. Keep on fighting and you'll see. You will soon see rainbows. Hey, come on. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. La, 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 la. Happiness.
mo hu gold mu fie mo ko fa excavator wo
the gold
ba fie hwe now the teen some mo ka background no ti
be gold na
she
Papa. Yeah, the only mu any abanye is
fie no why ya fie why ye benye ba bia da
yes o see ye mbu fie ni mo mbenya baby ada omumbu dan ni ngu o mi shop ase ekumase anye krofo ma asafu pe she ene so mo ye kwan ana se gata o we se MPC wo pan so be ye gata ana so be obegu kwan to ko ta I shall only be okay, Ashtown. I had only be MP no. Obenu no so okojina.
Just okay.
Hi.
Hey Charlie.
Charlie de Charlie.
Say ya sabe ko ya no a ayagalam say ya baba ko school ayagalam say from Ansuan Mutu aya kwanta abaye dwuma bia ne anuma ayeye efri tete babam na galam say ne ya nananuma ya no mkom krachi na abeso ya so sa mutu say aso a ya ne ya to aba no ya pasa galam say dwuma ko suntina ya to aba no it is abai wotu unkofo ogum sa amamra no mama be stop galansa amamo ba sika eno amoba je amwia amasanso adwuma ba na wamanso a adwuma bia ne a ya ne abiriye ene akasa esasa police ni ba eba ba ya sapa no akwa na ya ne adakom akobusumi mienu nie hwa ebi ma nko school ebi ma enko school ya tete anu musema obi afri Accra Kasua asisa police cars de aba ebi sisa asomade wo ba na so machine wantimi atu a watutu nioma no de kwa wasisa watiti lobed e de aba sa abai e na asomo na wachake machine ono ade ni po wo kwada kobusa na so a oso betu tuo
national security near police phobia omo ba ya omo se afidie a esisi kromi ana omo befa ene eso o befa sesei aban na blagala se obi anfa ne no mama fie be 3 weeks ni edi afidie be sisi fie edi se wo so wo befa pa de afidie no fie de e ma mo kwan edi e bobo obalia se afidie de ye ma omo mfa ba akokra anko edi e nyina ye pinche sa ana ye de afidie no e amoma mfa anko edi e wa na ya police for no e sa o machi a o de ko ye se ne sa abre eni e won shoot de e kokọ so ne se de sifie kwa de eni baba akuply na se ye de ko hospital nti oni asisi a enyina anti ya hwe ade nti se afidie ni de ye no kro mpa ye si e bro 3 weeks wo de ma mo hwe hu na ehun kura wo enye ne ena ye adwuma aban ni de tie nipa ye hwe de ono a de ba koduro de obaka koduro no ana ye nyina ye be hu se ye be ya adwuma o ye nya adwuma o ye ni problem de se sifie de ye sifie de efie de enya de be mo befa enti yeso ya no asem no
ye me ka kire mo ampanyin na ne se esre no ewura dwomama onfa na ni nto fom ye hu se sa de ni nyina na kotia na kufuado e ma na ban no sa bre woni su biem enti ye besre dwomama se onfa na ni nto fom na sa bre no nwibua bi wo mu a omumfa niam bi enkoyie because sa bre ba bi apake afidie asie no esifie be 2 months ni 3 months ni yankwa adwuma edi enti na police fuo betuma ba fie so mo ba fa fidie enti yesre no so mo na nimra fom ohwehwe mu ye na de omo ye no emwa ye yesre no pa yesre no eska de na wunim so mo je eska so wunim So omuji scam omuji scam bebre. Omuji scam bebre but omuba ya. Ya nya scam omu na ya fidie ni sifia. Omuba befa. Enti ana yeso ya mpre ye budget. Na yeso me some dem fi say. Masum patasie na we ana ye mo omude omuka esan wachi. Na se to so bie mu a omuka no omude be wura fam.
Ano wujimi nya na kwan say onko saa keke. O ti ase e janya dan ya say uja na kwan e ma wako. Ba de o mani say akwanya ne say wono charge o ba charge wo no se wa nya wo so wo fo afidi akọ. Afidi no so wo fa akọ no. Sebi empreduasa. Ebi ame akwati siga akọtọ siga machine. Ebi abes 30 billion ana 28 billion. No akọtọ machine no. Say ni ba no. Ebi kwa 1 billion kwa wo huru bi da. Uti ase. Na wo be so ba formation akọ, o be machine ni tuo. Eno kranum nyame anim ni. O kasa asam ni kira wo de a. Wa hwe ya. Je ese de besie no. Enye papa. Eti sabasa na asawo so no ngura nyina mo kana se. That's how I tell you about it. So, who just yet? That's a be a member of 500, member 200 million. That's also who just yet. That's also about forming messy a call, and that's about messy to the and the Muslim grinding. Oh, do you hear? You know, baby, at and so they are why come up, then soon sunny. Now I quite say what was a sa. Na if ye be a day in no, young crowd, my eye for. Na wo de sa turn over back okora na wuko why na kwa kotwinya.
There's not even fish in it. No, fish can survive poisonous water, and that is what you can see behind me. This were the only source of water in your hometown. How will you feel now? How will you feel? There's no way you can say that you want to fetch some and put it in your bucket and wait till you get maybe a clean water out of it. It's poisonous.
Also for aha a revolving on the Dunkwa road no enra area and Galamsey for no eteswa or moye jumayo. Asemo.
Government is broke, but people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. It's always a pleasure to come your way, and it's a beautiful Thursday morning. This is the day the Lord has made. Indeed, we're glad in it. Today is the 15th of January 2026. Thank you very much for staying with us. I also want to say a big thanks to the Almighty God for making it possible for us to return here to join the nation's conversation on the big issues that are making the rounds in our dear country, Ghana. I'll go straight ahead and look at what the newspapers are reporting this morning on their various front pages. So I'll start with the Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic this morning says that moves to tackle fare hikes begin. The government schedules meeting with transport operators. Legalize cyber security services by January 31. Authority. The economy grew 3.8% in October last year. GSS. No digital migration, no new license plates. DVLA. True leadership measured by lives touched. Dr. Adeyemi. That's with the Daily Graphic today. The New Republic is reporting that Giadex seals $60 million deal to mine bauxite in key forest region. Critics warn of debt and environmental risk. There's Gexim Bank pledges reset at 10. Veep hails young people as a greatest asset. Mad rush for non-interest banking license. DVLA boss fights back as a scandal over contract inherited from MPP explodes. Unions move to stop ECG Netco privatization. The Ghanaian Times. Trotro drivers exploit passengers, make tot trips to make more money. Angela List not arrested, granted bail, CID. Rupa raises alarm over under-declaration in raw rubber exports. Avail yourself for scrutiny, government Ken Ofori Atta. The Daily Guide. Angela List lawyer denies her arrests. Kwewu Kingmakers drag Dasibre Ekwamwa Ejapon II to charge. CJ receives petitions against SPEC boss. US blocks visas for Ghana, 74 other countries. Huge illicit drugs seized at Takoradi port. The Inside. Cuba salutes President Mahama over bold stand on Venezuela. Veep seeks corporate backing in the government sanitary pad drive. US military takeover of Greenland would be end of NATO, says European Commissioner. And there's NDK bond depositors see government relief. France, Fanon at 100, class struggle and the future of African liberation. There's move beyond success to significance. Reverend Sam Adeyemi tells leaders at JLC 2025. Nketia family dismisses petition against Ekwape Hema. And then the Daily Post. Prison service to produce sanitary pads, uniforms and furniture for schools. And there's Japan applauds Ghana's reforms and improving investment climate as Trade Minister Elizabeth Ofosoi-Jare meets Japan State Minister for Foreign Affairs. Petitions against OSPEC leadership forwarded to Chief Justice Kwache Ofosu. Let me check out what's online on the online portal. So I'll start with My Joy Online, and My Joy Online has rise of, sorry about that. Okay, let me rather go to the City Newsroom. B1, B2 visas not affected by U.S. immigrant visa pause. That's Ambassador Smith. Ghana is Africa's trade gateway. Ofosoi-Jare calls Japanese investors. Beyond the 3.8% October growth, what risk or opportunities remain? Current geopolitical dynamics could trigger world war. That's Festus Abuaji. And U.S. foreign policy under Trump, driven by national interests, not alliances. Now let's check out what's on myjoyonline.com. Okay. Right. Looks like my PC is playing games with me this morning. Anyway, I'd rather go to Ghana Web. Ochubefi speaks on alleged plot to oust Afenyo Marking. And there's the issue about U.S. ICE is disabled from deporting him. Oforiatta's lawyer claims Mahama is a good man with a clear vision for Ghana. Elvis urges faith. Haruna Idrisu beats Asedu Nketia Veep as most preferred NDC. And there's your favorite, my favorite, and yours truly, Metro TV Online, which is the best online portal in Ghana. Father arrested for allegedly trying to sell 3-year-old son for 1 million cedis. Ghana Medical Trust Fund supports restoration of cardiac services at Kolebu. And then there's also Immigration Service begins repatriation of 8 foreigners convicted of illegal activities. And there's GAWU demands decent work and human rights in fisheries. So that's it for the online portals. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Don't go anywhere. I have a very, very important guest who will be joining us for the next 40-45 minutes to talk about planning this country called Ghana. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Chia winning Nara, me ding edge baby dapa, me dear son cocrane bremo. Now that what you animal with you and the ed depana me de bremo. And no any summer spices. Summer spices in here, and we will not be breo. Various flavors, Ubenya a yako, Ubenya nemchi, you do good jollof woman and we get dead. Ubenya you do good quam, you do good for you. Hot nako pibito, na Emma with Gianni, and yet dead. When you mean ya, you can you go to your uncle for Eka.
Autant your communication, you all enjoy Uduba, that Samu spices. One in the essence, no time. I'm going to get it. Samu spices in a side, daddy so say. Samu spices, Munsam.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices.
In Sanaka in Kitwa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, and jollof, and the flavors of Bebre.
Samu spices, yes, Saka.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kit, happy smile.
In a world where security is paramount, peace of mind should be a necessity and not a luxury. This is why Virtual Security Africa has created a special discount package up to 30% on our 4 and 8 channel high definition cameras. We are more affordable now than ever. With as low as 4,130 Ghana cedis, you can get 4 high definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. With 6,440 Ghana cedis, you will get 8 high-definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. Why choose us? Because we offer top-tier quality you can trust, lifetime after-sales support, 2 years warranty, and you can view our systems remotely. Sidinua Peke. Spend less, secure more. Call us on 055 874-0764 and 050-331-4068. Virtual Security Africa. We will beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality.
Good morning, Mr. Dean.
Good morning, Ejako. And why do you keep staring at my rubbish container?
I'm surprised you're still using a bin without a cover. You know it can cause a mess.
My bin is just fine. Look, there is no leakage, still solid and robust. If you will excuse me, I have work to do.
Yo.
Dustbins are a great way of keeping trash off the streets and homes. However, the use of bins without fitting covers pose a challenge with stench from rotten items, flies, and scavengers. Keep the environment clean and healthy. Get dustbins with fitting covers.
Right, so you're live in Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. As I did indicate at the beginning of the show, we have a big guest, a man who rarely makes media appearances, but of course this is where relationship counts, and this is where the size of the platform and the influence of the platform counts. And so that's the man in your shot, Dr. Isaac Nimue Thompson. Yes. Long time, Doc. Long time, you know. So Dr. Isaac Nimue Thompson, you know, he's affectionately called Nimue Thompson, but we dug out something, you know, quite new. And as Dr. Isaac Nimue Thompson, he's the chair of the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, but he also advises the president on many things. But he's a development economist, you know, strictly speaking. He's been in this space, which is development economics, for many decades. In fact, I've known him for more than 20 years. And I recall that the first time I had a conversation with him, he made me understand that he's an Africanomics nomist, that's what I should be saying. But it's also very big. He's a big admirer of Marcus Garvey. We all know who Marcus Garvey is, and he believes in ideals and so on and so forth. And so, yes, that's Dr. Isaac Nimue Thompson. He's a Pan-Africanist par excellence. He's an unashamed Pan-Africanist. He believes so much in Pan-Africanism. I mean, anytime we talk, you tell him, he's espousing the ideals of Pan-Africanism. And so, yes, he's now the new chair of the NDPC. He has a conversation to have with us now. Why is he here this morning? He's here with us for two reasons. One, we're going to have a conversation about Ghana's development, but more importantly, the Constitution Review Commission's work, which it did, which it presented to the president recently at a ceremony, brief ceremony. Now, this is about a second, or let's say 2.5 attempts, you know, because we had a 2010 Professor Mills, and then, you know, how do you call it? There was yes, and then it was the Chairman Sabons one who was supposed to oversee that, but that didn't happen. But that report, which was produced by the Professor Kofi Fiajo committee, is still there. It's lying there, it's gathering dust. Fortunately, what we've been told is that the new team headed by Professor H.K. Kwesi Prempeh have actually taken they've actually had to go through that report in formulating this one. So it's not necessarily become a useless document per se, except that it wasn't implemented strictly speaking. And now that we have a new document, the president says it's going to be a game changer, even though he sees some of the recommendations as very radical. But he says he's going to set up an implementation committee sometime this month to oversee the implementation of the report or the document. What is not sure, is not certain though, because we've not heard from the presidency whether there's going to be a white paper that will be issued, you know, on the back of this. But if what the Minister of Education, who is a cabinet minister, is saying is anything to go by, which says that there won't be any white paper which will be issued, it's not a constitution anyway. The president is not under any constitutional obligation to do that, but it's just become like a convention and practice. So we'll see how that goes. But Dr. Nimue Thompson is here to tell us more about the development side of things. Now remember that the theme for this CRC report is to move us from an electoral society to a development one. We tend to focus more on elections at elections, but not necessarily focusing on how do we develop this country on the long-term basis, okay? And so we want to put that to rest and now embrace this new paradigm. But he's going to play a very, very key role. And so it hasn't been easy, but we've been able to get him to join us because he's an extremely busy man, to tell us how he intends to do that. First of all, what he makes of the report and where does it come in? And that's where this conversation would be focusing on. So, Doc, thank you very much for joining us, and we're very happy to have you join us this morning. Now, Doc would be with us the next 40-45 minutes, and then our regular guest would join us after he has taken leave of us. Doc, good to see you once again.
Thank you.
And I guess that...
good to see you since Brazil, where you swerved me.
I looked for you. Unfortunately...
I know you were busy, yeah.
Yes, you were busy too.
Yeah, I know, we're all busy,
yes.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's good to see you. It's good to see you. That was last November, right?
All right.
Yeah.
So...
And since you dug up Isaac, you might as well add Bannerman.
Right. There's a Bannerman in addition to your name. So Doctor...
all the kids, anyone who sees me and they call me IB,
okay,
that means I went to primary school with them in either Kumasi or Lagos, Sweden. They call me IB Thompson. They are not used to Nimue Thompson.
Oh, really? Dr. IB. What at the time was IB Thompson.
Isaac Bannerman Thompson, yeah.
Wow. But
then people... When you're growing up with all these English names, you don't think much of it until you travel. And people wonder, what kind of African is Isaac Bannerman Thompson?
Right.
Then you begin to think about using your indigenous name, pretty much like Dr. Yundum, you know, I think it was Justice York or something like that. But when you're in Ghana, you don't see the idiocy of walking around with only European names.
Right.
Until you travel abroad and people question you.
Right.
What kind of African walks around with a bunch of Europeans?
Because they don't walk around with local names.
That's the thing. And in Ghana, some people mistook me for... There was someone actually who thought I was a white man when I spoke with them on the phone before I came to Ghana. And then I met him at National Theatre. He was visibly disappointed.
Right.
That's when I was, okay, let me use my Nimue.
Right.
This was something like 30 years ago.
That's how it must be. And you know, when we talk about emancipation, it's not just the political emancipation, it's also about the mental emancipation. And this is what it speaks to. You know, the fact that we're happy to embrace anything foreign and shut the door on something local. You know, so I totally agree with you. I think that, and that's why I think you've been very deliberate about maintaining the Dr. Nimue Thompson instead of the Isaac Bannerman. You know. Anyway, so I'll take inspiration from that. It's Dr. Nimue Thompson. There's no Isaac Bannerman anymore. Doc, so let me. I guess that congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
I recall that in our last interaction here, it was at the 4BHIMA studio, the biggest studio downstairs. We talked about development.
Right.
And you talked about the role you had played in, you know, shaping some of the policies and so on, which found expression in the NDC's manifesto and so on. And you've always been a very close friend to the president. You've been advising him on many, many occasions on many things. And so for some of us, it didn't come as a surprise at all that you had to go back to, but you went back home, which is the NDPC. But when you were there before, you were Director General.
Yeah.
You're now the Chairman. Tell us about the transition.
I always tell people, I give them a football analogy. Director General is the captain of the team.
Right.
Chairman is the manager of the team.
Right.
Pretty much. So you have more of a strategic role.
Right.
The Director General, who is now Dr. Audrey Smoke Amwa, who actually rose through the ranks. So she has extensive experience at all levels of development. She's in charge of the technical and administrative activities of the commission. And then I lead the commission as chairman. We meet every other month, we are supposed to, with the commissioners, to provide strategic direction for the commission as a whole. And I must emphasize that it is not similar to a board of directors. Right. It's actually a working commission. So I have an office there. I go there 5 days a week. I have a secretary, unlike, let's say, a board chairman, for instance. And the commissioners actually do work on various policies, including the President's Coordinator Program, which we've just completed in October last year. We completed it in record time, 6 months. The previous one took 23 months. So you can tell the effects of leadership, new ways of doing things. And that's how we function. Of course, there's always room for improvement. And this is where the recommendations of the Constitution Review Commission come in terms of what it thinks we can do and do better. Not all their recommendations are relevant. Some are redundant, some are actually regressive, but substantial parts of it are very, very, very critical. I'm very exceedingly happy that they highlight the directive principles of state policy.
Absolutely.
I've always felt that it's perhaps the most progressive aspect of the Constitution that hadn't received the attention that it requires. And I'm glad that they've actually moved several steps forward to try and entrench it in our development planning framework. That will be binding, because that's one problem we've had over the years. Well, this plan was prepared by this government and so forth and so on. But the directive principles of state policy is an integral part of our Constitution that is binding on everyone.
Except that it hasn't been fully respected.
That's the problem.
That's been the problem. But
yes.
What do you think accounts for this?
Well, I think there were some legal limitations in the past. And this is the first time I heard the word justiciable. I think it was Professor Kumbo who introduced that to me. We were discussing that, and the question was whether or not any Ghanaian can take the government to court for not fulfilling the requirements of the directive principles of state policy. I think with time and with some legal precedents, now it is possible for anyone to sue the government for not abiding by the directive principles of state policy. So now, and they've made a number of recommendations for entrenching it, including budgeting, planning, and so forth and so on. So we are looking forward to it. And I like it because it helps us to confront some of the demons that we've kind of taken for granted. Late last year, we kept hearing things like, I think, Category A schools. What was the form? Category A schools.
Yeah.
If you read the directive principles of state policy, it's actually a violation of the Constitution to have schools in categories. Because the directive principles of state policy requires that we have equitable access to the best education possible. So you cannot have some schools that are Category A, whose child is going to go to Category B and Z and the rest of it. So if we went strictly by the directive principles of state policy, then it means we need to provide the same facility. If this school has a lab and a library, every other secondary school must have a lab and a library. If you cannot provide it for a school, at least, I remember there was a time when they had science facilities for a cluster of schools, so everybody has equal access. So there's so much in the directive principles of state policy that now that we are going to operationalize them in full, will provide the basis for an equitable and just society. And what, again, gladdens my heart the most, when we prepared the 40-year National Development Plan, we actually quoted a part of the directive principles of state policy on the cover. Let me just quickly go through it. That's Article 36(2)(e).
Right.
And you did allude to that in your introduction. Article 36(2)(e), it says, the most secure democracy is the one that assures the basic necessities of life for its people as a fundamental duty. This has always been in the Constitution without it being highlighted, and it's actually the theme of the CRC's work. You know, the CRC is moving us from just elections to actual improvements in life. It happens that the directive principles of state policy already provides the guidelines.
Right.
It's now up to us to operationalize them and set the targets and so forth and so on. So that's going to be pretty straightforward for us. It actually makes our life easier.
Right.
Now, we don't have to justify anything. As soon as you raise any issues, we refer you to directive principles of state policy.
Right. That's interesting.
Yes.
And I like the context that you set for this conversation, because it makes it easier for people to follow.
Yeah.
Where
Thanks.
to follow what exactly you intend to say. Now, before we get into specifics, because you talked about direct principles of state policy, which undergets this whole document we've just produced by the CRC, can I pick your general thoughts about the work of the CRC? Now, you notice that they've made a number of recommendations. I mean, the whole entire document is about 127 pages, but they've made some specific
A
recommendations.
fraction of the whole. The previous one was 1,000 pages.
Exactly. In fact, Kwesi Prempeh tells us that this one could actually be about 5,000, except that we don't need that.
Exactly.
That's for the appointing authority,
Right.
you know. But for us, 127
It's fine, yeah.
you know. But I want to pick your thoughts generally about the work of the CRC. So which of the recommendations do you find interesting, or which of them do you find either irrelevant? You know, I mean, so your general thoughts about the work and some of the recommendations that have been made. I mean, you can't walk us through everything because
certainly
it's about
can.
50 of them, you know. But which of them rubs you off, and in what way?
Well, two things. In terms of structure, and I would recommend this to Prof, it's not too late.
Okay.
I think they should develop a kind of a matrix. This can be electronic and they put it on our website or whatever. Electronic, because what they did is thematic.
Yeah.
So you have to look around for articles and so forth and so on. What they can do is simply keep the thematic areas, but have a column on the right that gives you the relevant articles. So anyone who picks it up with a particular interest in an article can go directly to it and do that. That's a recommendation to Prof. I was with him last week with Bernard. I didn't get to suggest him. So Prof, if you are listening to me, that is my recommendation that you do that. We've already done that. We were so happy with the prominence they gave to the Directive Principles of State Policy. We've already created a matrix that aligns the Directive Principles of State Policy with the 5 dimensions of development, even before it's been approved.
Right.
So it's economic development, social development, environment, infrastructure, and spatial planning, governance, institutional development, international relations. So for us, the framework is already in place. So, and I think they did a good job in that respect. They of course, consulted widely. We were represented there. We were able to make some points, not everything, but we have our written submission, which we will tender later on. You're right that this time around they are not going to, well, that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's confirmed yet, that there will not be a white paper. Previously, there was a white paper, and out of the white paper came the CRIC, Constitution Review Implementation Committee. And then Professor Azar in the States took President Mahama to court. President Mahama actually started implementing it. And then Azar took the government to court. So it was suspended. Eventually, President Mahama won, the government won, but by then it was too late. And so this is part of the thing they reviewed. In place of a white paper, I understand we can make submissions to the Attorney General. And so that is going to be the part that will follow. The commission itself will meet, we'll review our position on that and make the necessary recommendations. There are a number of, shall we say, controversial suggestions that they made, including the tenure of the president, for example, that somehow it should be extended from 4 to 5. There's no empirical basis really for it. I heard Prof say that that's the movement. People are moving to 5 and 7 and so forth. But that again, that's not enough of an empirical basis. They may be moving to 5, they may be moving to 7, but what really is the impact of that? That's what matters. There's a theory in social science called Parkinson's Law. And Parkinson's Law says that work tends to expand to fill the time available. So if I ask you to perform a certain task in an hour, you will do that in an hour given those things. But I can ask you to perform the same task in 6 hours. And you simply, take your time and do that. It happens with these guys, the tilers, who work in various houses. There are 2 types of tilers out there. There are those who charge by day, and they like to extend the work to make as much money as possible. And then those who charge by area, they want to finish as quickly as possible and move on. So there's a lot that you can do in 4 years. You don't. What are you going to do in the 5th year that you couldn't do in the previous 4 years? In any case, when you come in for 4 years, you are already inheriting some work previously done by the previous government. So that's another 4 years. But let's even discount that by 2 years, the last 2 years. You're inheriting that. You're supposed to build on that because governance is a continuum. It's not discrete that one government ends. No, things go on. So if you add the last 2 years to the 4, we're effectively talking about 6 years or more. Right. More importantly is the fact that the system for delivering development it's very complex, and the president's tenure is only one aspect of that complex system. The processes, the institutions for the delivery of development itself, besides the presidency, are equally important.
Right.
If they are inefficient, non-responsive to the needs of the people, then you can give the president 10, 12 years and it wouldn't make a damn difference because the institutions are very critical. Only yesterday, in fact, I did report a case of an illegal structure, only yesterday, to my district assembly. And they took the call, I spoke with someone, and I asked him how long it was going to take for them to respond. They said 10 to 11 days. Right? So I paused and I said, wait a second. Is this a joke? Are you putting me on or this is for real? He said, this is real. He said it's 10 to 11 days.
Did you ask him why?
No. He said that's the standard. You know, Ghana, that's how we've always done it. So I said, all right, this is the district where I live in. I said, okay, so then give me a complaint number because you're supposed to get a number, like a serial number. He said, all right, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Then right away, I knew everything was going to go downhill. He calls back and he says, in fact, I've changed my mind. We don't issue the serial numbers anymore. You have to come to the assembly to fiscally file the report.
Wow.
Again, I said, are you joking? He said, no, I'm not joking. For real, you have to come. This is about 10, 11 kilometers that they want me to drive to go and file a report on illegal structures. And I do a lot of complaints about how the local governance has pretty much failed us. So we pretty much ended it. I actually wanted to go today. I have a lot of stuff to do. Otherwise, I would have gone there today to exactly find out what the hell is going on. That you now, so imagine if everybody has to do that. And this is why you have the mess, the chaos that we have in our cities. So I won't be surprised if one day I wake up, there are illegal structures all over the place, and then the MC is the one leading, quote unquote, a task force to go and demolish them. And then we start pampering them. Oh, leadership by example. No, it's not leadership by example. Anytime you see an MC, a regional minister, any public official leading the demolition of illegal structures, it's an admission of failed leadership, failure to build institutions, because it is not the place of a DC to go demolishing things. The DC is supposed to have a vision for their institution, build systems, and let the systems work. But if you have to leave from behind your desk to go out there, it means you failed. And this is the source of the failure.
Right.
Sometimes I see them intimidating traders on weekends. Close your shop, we are closing gutters. But we are cleaning gutters. Why? Mama, why should you even get to that point? If we're really smart, and you must clean gutters, first of all, this is the 21st century. We don't have to have open gutters. But if you're going to clean gutters and you're smart, you plan it in such a way that you do that after hours, maybe even overnight. Right. So it's seamless. The businesses run their business, they provide the services, they generate the revenue for government during the day, and then you do your work. But that is not the Ghanaians' attitude. Their first instinct is to frustrate you. And actually, they take perverse pleasure in seeing people being frustrated. Yes, we went there and we closed the shop, Takashi, and not the rest of it. We are not going to develop. So the point is that you can extend the presidency all you want. If the underlying systems, institutions for delivering development are dysfunctional, such as they are now, then a 20-year tenure would do nothing.
Won't make any difference.
It wouldn't make any difference. It wouldn't make any difference. And already, there's evidence that you can do more in 4 years. Again, it boils down to leadership. I told you that we produced the President's Coordinated Program in 6 months instead of 23 months. Now, how did that come about? It was largely, besides the Director General herself leading the process, we also had support at the highest level of leadership, starting with the President himself. He was traveling to Asia some time ago, was going to be away for like a week, travel to other places. So I decided to sneak in a letter to his office with the expectation that when he comes back in a week, I will get my response. You know how long it took for him to respond? 2 days.
Whoa.
He responded in 2 days instead of a week. Referred me to Ato. I went to Ato. I was sitting in Ato's office when he called the person who's supposed to work on it, put him on speakerphone. Problems that Commission had faced for years were solved in less than a week after the 2 days response.
Wow.
The same thing with the chief of staff. You send him a letter. The next day, I worked on your letter yesterday. before the actual response comes in. So leadership and its ability to utilize scarce resources, in fact, is the heart of economic development. When we talk about productivity, that is it. To get the most out of the least amount of effort. But to go out there and say, give me more time, you just become lazy. Trust me, if you do 5 years, after a while they'll come and say, give us 7, give us 10, and nothing will be done. But fixed institutions. And that's why I like the fact that among the Commission's mandate is structural, to look at the structure of the economy. You mentioned the issue of what we do the other day. We're supposed to advise the President on macroeconomic issues and structural issues, the structure of the economy, the integrity of its institutions, and the various structures of the economy. That's our focus. That is the focus of it. And I'm very passionate about that. Right. That until we deal with these structural issues, not much, structural and institutional issues, not much is going to happen. And I'm aware that we are under an IMF program. It's a stabilization program. But a stabilization program is just what it is. It's stabilization. After stabilization, you are supposed to grow.
Right.
And you're not just supposed to grow, but we have, in economic analysis, we have something called expansion. That means your economy is supposed to grow faster than it was before. All those require institutional and structural reforms, which are not part of stabilization. So we need to handle that, and that's the responsibility of NDPC. Sometime last year, I actually wanted to talk to the IMF representative here because I read in the papers that they were in town for consultations and they didn't involve NDPC. So just by coincidence, he actually wanted to see me. So he came over. We had some very useful conversations. And I made it clear that the Commission is the ultimate custodian of national development.
Right.
Stabilization is just part of it. Growth and transformation of the economy is our responsibility. No MDA, Ministry, Department, or agency, can submit their budget request to the Ministry of Finance without first going through NDPC.
I've seen it here.
Yeah, it's part of our mandate. We are supposed to review them and certify them. So if we are talking about an economic agenda beyond stabilization, you necessarily must involve NDPC.
Right.
In our discussions, in fact, he kept referring to the fact that we will need a weak city to stimulate exports. Right. He was referring to Southeast Asia. And I had to politely remind him that the exchange rate is actually just one of several factors that determine the international competitiveness of a country. And in the case of Ghana, if we were to rely solely on the exchange rate as we have, or as they have been encouraging us, then we'll be, again, as I said, the most competitive. They've been advising us on those lines since 1983.
Yes, you see, showing that on the screen.
Say that again.
Domestic credit is the private sector.
That's the private sector. But I'll get to that later on.
Right.
My worry was this inordinate obsession with a weak currency to promote exports. It doesn't always follow that way. In theory, in the economic textbooks, yes, they tell you that a weak currency stimulates exports. But there are so many assumptions. One is the fact that it's the same theory tells you that the inflation rate has to be zero. Is it zero? No. So in practice, we use low inflation rate. That's by definition. You have to be one of two categories. In international exports or trade, you have what we call price takers and price makers.
Right.
The price takers are those like us who export mostly primary commodities. And so whatever price is out there is what you get. As opposed to price makers who are primarily manufacturers, and they set the prices. All those things contribute. Now, when we started structural adjustment in 1983, the cedi was exchanging at 275 to the dollar, 1983. And then the same people advised us, and we kept doing that. If we hadn't done the redenomination in 2007, today the exchange rate would be 100,000 cedis to $1 US. And where do we stand in exports? In fact, our manufacturers' exports as a share of merchandise is around 5%.
Yeah.
Very low compared to around 60% for lower middle income countries. Ours is around 5%. At some point it was 17 and then it came down to 18, 8, and then it's now 5%, despite a weakening currency. So we need to be very careful, and that is why we believe that the structural aspects of development must be factored into any stabilization program. Unfortunately, the IMF is not really set up to look at structural issues. What they call structural benchmarks are basically institutional reforms, privatization, and so forth. But even privatization, we've so mishandled it since 1966. Don't forget, we started it after Nkrumah was overthrown. And sometimes you ask yourself, what happened to all the money? What did we even do with the proceeds from privatization? And then once you begin to interrogate that, you realize that one, there's a lot of corruption in it. There's a young man who passed away a few years back. He was involved in the privatization thing. I don't believe he was more than 50. But when he died, among other things, they found out that he had bought a house, $500,000 house. This was a public servant. $500,000 house for his girlfriend at East Legon. The case is in court now. Several properties all over. And that's one of the fallouts from privatization. It created a corrupt technocracy. There's also the issue of sometimes we getting scammed without even knowing. In 2007, thereabout, when we were selling Ghana Telecom, and we actually went to court, a group of activists, myself included, from the CPP at the time. We thought mistakenly that we're going to get $900 million from the sale of Ghana Telecom. And the document said sale and purchase agreement. Right. What was missing in the document was the sale and purchase price. There was no price in the document. And what we mistook for $900 million was actually called the transaction consideration, which is not the same as the sale and purchase price. So after they concluded the agreement, and according to PC Apio Ofori back then, I don't know where he is now, I suppose he's in retirement.
Was alleging that some people took money.
Exactly. He says some MPs took $5,000 each to waive the agreement through.
Right.
So what happens as a result, I don't know how true it is, but he said it. The MPs denied it. But what we do know is that we did not get $900 million.
Right.
We got $266 million. Because they took the transaction consideration as the formula for the sale and purchase price, and then they started subtracting this liability, this liability. By the time they were done, we had less than $300 million. So what then led, that provoked was that how many times since 1966 then did we think we're getting some amounts of money that we didn't get?
Right.
And now, as I speak, we are in a situation where the economy is so distorted. One of the graphs I sent you is the state of our business in Ghana, where 92% of businesses are in the informal sector. Right. 92. And the remaining 8% is pretty much dominated by external players, factors. So they now control the rest of the economy. I wish I could give you some of the figures here. Oh, okay, I have that here, in fact. That's by coincidence. So you look at finance, we're not talking about the 8%, which is formal, and it's dominated. Finance is 74% dominated by foreign ownership, control, ownership or control. Extractives is 80 to 90%. Telcos is 74%. I believe it's higher. Manufacturing is 80 to 90%. And then we have agro-processing, which is also around 90%. Real estate, high-end real estate is still dominated by outsiders. High-end hospitality, restaurants, high-end retail stores. We don't even have any Ghanaian in retail stores. So, as I said, we are in a very perverse way tenants in the very house that we built. And others are controlling us. And we seem to be in fear whenever we engage them. We're like, oh, okay, you take the majority share. We're okay with 10%. We're okay with 5%. That kind of thing. It's that mindset. And it's led to these structural distortions in our own economy. The graphs I showed you, oh, okay, they have this one there. That is private sector credit. And that, I don't even know how to begin it. But the line at the bottom is the lowest share for the export sector. The export sector actually gets the lowest share of bank credit in Ghana. It's less than, private from the banks, the deposit money banks. That one is 0.54%. You see the number there? 0.58. Oh, okay, I have my copy here. Yes. So the one at the bottom is export trade, 0.58%. Now, at the top is commerce and finance, trading. That's the highest, 15%.
Okay.
Before manufacturing, which is 10%. And then import trade accounts for 8.3%. Imports, 8.3%. And exports, is 0.5%. This is similar to an X-ray of an economy. The same way, a hospital will take an X-ray of your chest. This is one aspect of it. And it's been like that. This is June 2025 to June 2024. But if you go back 10, 15, 20 years, nothing has changed. Despite all the programs we've had, despite all the interventions, it's been consistently like this all these years. At least in 2015, when we did the 40-year National Development Plan, these were some of the things we analyzed and put forward a roadmap for reversing that. How do you give more credit for import, 8%, than to exports?
Ironically, but it's trite knowledge that the more you import as against your exports, you're weakening your currency.
Precisely. And gold has come in, but remember, gold, we are price takers there.
Yes.
So there may come a time when we'll have to stand on our own, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, it so happens that we then, I suppose partly to address this problem, we have the Exim Bank. But then Exim Bank, if you've been following the news, has become a slush fund for the politically connected. They're not even financing exports. They're sharing the money among themselves for all sorts of dubious things. So corruption also then eats into that. And then commerce. How is it that commerce gets the most? Manufacturing is 10%. Because between manufacturing and construction, that's where we're supposed to create the jobs.
Right.
And yet commerce gets more than these two. They're slightly, almost the same. Commerce alone gets almost the same for construction and manufacturing combined. And so for us as the Commission, these are the things we are looking to address again. We did that in 2015. Somehow it didn't take us very far. Now we have the cover of the Constitutional Review Commission's mandate. And for your viewers, I encourage you, if there's one aspect of the Constitution that you must read, it is the Directive Principles of State Policy. It covers everything we need to develop this country. And if we had followed it from 93 up to now, trust me, as they say on Peace FM, Ghana would have been crabbershe. Seriously. But it's not too late. We've learned our lessons. We know that pettiness will never take us anywhere. Spending a decade fussing over the name of a document when there are substantive issues to address will never serve anybody, whether you're an NDC or an MPP or whatever. And we also want to avoid the situation where, I always say, we don't want to get to a point where someone gets to a pothole and they figure, well, this is my party's pothole, and so I'm going to drive my car through the other pothole, even though it's not as deep. I will avoid that because, no, that kind of idiocy in politics should really have any place in it. Unfortunately, the Directive Principles of State Policy actually enjoins us to subordinate our political and other allegiances to a higher objective of national development. We can still be members of our party because the Constitution actually permits us to do that. But at some point, we need to draw a line and say, okay, this is about Ghana. Potholes don't discriminate by party. They affect everybody. Doomsaw affects everyone, and so water, and so forth and so on. And that's when we need to set aside our narrow political differences and then...
Now speaking about narrow political differences, you're right. I mean, we're in a very politically charged environment. And one of the things that I'm sure you'll agree with me, which has worked against the effective discharge of your duty or of your mandate as NDPC has been, most of the time, a changing government. I mean, you were appointed somewhere, I think, in 2012, as 13, yes, as the DG of the NDPC, and we've all seen the work that you did. You came out with the 40-year development plan. The NPP at the time were in a position, they kicked against it, led by the likes of Yao Safomafo, and then you justified it and gave us all the reasons why we need a 40-year development plan. Now, predictably, as soon as the NDC lost the elections, you sat there for, I think, 8-9 months, and then you left.
10 months.
About 10 months.
months, yeah.
And then you left, because that's in line, of course, with your mandate. The question then arose was, why did you leave? But then, you even though you had a certain constitutional cover, but you still decided to leave.
Yes.
I want to ask you why, because it dovetails into what you said about, the political environment we find ourselves in, how that has affected the work of the NDPC. First of all, why did you leave? Why did you stay?
You've summed it up so well. I have a feeling you had a spy in my office.
You said, we go way back. You have to laugh, man.
It sounded like you have a spy in my office.
You know,
no,
because you started well. Like Ghanaians love what you're doing, but you have to leave.
As you said, I'm a Garveyist, so as a Garveyist, I put everything above. I put Garveyism above everything. Right. My commitment to the development of Africa, and for that matter, to the development of Ghana. So, despite the fact that I was appointed by President Mahama as Director General, I had to go for an interview at the Public Services Commission. So it wasn't a purely political appointment. They could have rejected me if I had failed the interview. 2, as Director General, irrespective of which president appoints you, you are to serve all governments. It's the higher, because the commission exists on 2 tiers. The political tier, which is the commissioners, who are appointed directly by the president, and they start working right away. And then the technical administrative tier, which is headed by the Director General, and they are supposed to work to serve all governments. And I believe that I did that to the best of my ability. I did not take any political positions because Ghana was my focus, the transformation of Ghana. I've lived abroad. I lived in New York City for over 10 years. I took the subways, traveled on land, above land, on the bridge, under the river. I had seen what others have done. And as Marcus Garvey says, if you receive an email from me, I always quote Marcus Garvey that what others have done, we can do. Right. So that's the thing that drove me. I chose to stay on even after the government left. I went to, and talking about the political part, I went to the EMT meeting once to brief them on something, and the reception, let's just state broadly, the reception was less than welcoming, and I figured, no, I don't think I can work in such a hostile environment. Nevertheless, I was committed to see the president succeed. Okay. And so I stayed on for the next 10 months to make sure that his coordinated program was completed. Right. It had nothing to do with whether I was treated well or not. That would be pettiness of the highest order. Because if the president at the time failed, we all failed. Right. If petrol prices went up, we'll all pay higher prices. True. So I was committed for 10 months. Right. And I left only after we had completed the coordinated program. Right. And even before that, the day before he was to be sworn in, Asenso Boache, his aide at the time, actually managed to arrange a meeting for me. So I went to his house. I had been told that he wasn't a fan of long-term planning. He gave me about 20, 25 minutes. I explained to him, and he understood that a long-term plan and a manifesto are not necessarily mutually exclusive. That the manifesto actually is complemented by he agreed. The only thing he required of me at the time was that I should reduce the presentation. You know, sometimes we can be book long. I went with the long presentation. He said, just make it 2 or 3 pages for me. And that's all I did. And then a couple of weeks later, he actually made appointments based on the advice that I gave him. So I served dutifully, but outside, people figure, well, he was appointed by Muhammad and so forth and so on.
And that sort of tainted you.
Exactly, but not that. It's not just that. You see, again, I think we've learned along the way. One reason, and most people may not know this, one reason Vision 2020, for instance, was not carried through was because they had Mr. Rawlins's picture in there. And they said, no, how can we carry out our development agenda with a picture of the former president? In a sense, it made sense because you have a new government there, a new president, his picture or whatever should be on there. But that was the start of what I call picture politics. And then President Kufuor leaves after 8 years. He left a bunch of publications for public sector reforms that had his picture in there. And then NDC also comes in and says, no, we cannot work with a document with President Kufuor's picture in there. So we learned our lessons, and we decided that the only time the president's picture should appear in the document is the coordinated program, which is his document by the Constitution. But for documents that transcend governments, there will be no president's picture. And so the 40-year National Development Plan did not have any president's picture. We wanted it to be transcendental.
Learning your lessons
based on our lessons. That's why I say we've been learning along the way.
Right.
Unfortunately, things were changed. They put some people's pictures, it became messy. Right. But then we are back, and we want the public to know that this is the situation. There will always be the coordinated program for economic and social development policies that always has the president's name because it ends with his tenure.
That's fine.
But for documents that transcend, they're supposed to cut across, there's nobody's picture there. It's just targets, indicators, timelines for the people of Ghana. What pains me the most when I was, after a while I left and moved with the UN in South Africa for a while, but hearing people whose regions and constituencies actually stood to benefit from the 40-year National Development Plan, who were then bad-mouthing the plan and the commission. It pained me a lot. So in Ashanti region, for instance, if we had followed through, there would have been at least 2 automobile assembly plants by the Japanese today, if we had followed through. Because it wasn't just the 40-year development plan. There were other sub-plans there. This one had to do with the Greater Kumasi Master Plan. There was something called WAGRIC, West Africa Growth Ring Corridor, and several others. And I led a delegation to Japan. The Japanese were helping us. They placed a consultant in Kumasi for 2 years. And he carried out the most comprehensive socioeconomic analysis of Ashanti region and Kumasi. He was going to cover, I think, 7 or 9 different assemblies that they were going to benefit from. And yet we had MPs from Kumasi bad-mouthing the thing. And it pains me. And I had an interest because, I wasn't just born in Kumasi, but I also grew up, not just in Kumasi, but just outside of Kumasi in Kariye, which was part of this thing here. And I was looking forward to his thing. But then it's never too late. We've all learned our lessons. Hopefully, we even had the Black Star Stadium, which an old friend of mine, he's passed now, but he actually wanted to take that to the Ashanti region. He was actually mobilizing investors. And the Black Star Stadium, even though it's called a stadium, it's actually a business complex with a stadium in the middle. So the idea was that if it's located in Ashanti region, it could be used as a pivot to promote conference tourism, entertainment tourism, and all that. You could even build artificial beach, such as they have in Sun City in South Africa. So many things we could have done. But then again, as I said, it's never too late. We are back. We have to go out there and sell the message to the people.
Absolutely. Doc, now, you've told us, in fact, you shared what the broad vision is. First of all, you've given us your opinion about the report and what you intend to do with the report. But to be able to do that, you need a structure, you need a certain ecosystem to be able to function optimally, right? And I look at the recommendations of the CRC, I see some interesting recommendations they're making in order for us to achieve that objective. And as you said, I'm looking at how now because you talked about structural layers, you have the political layer, you have the administrative. Now the CRC is recommending something slightly different. I would want to pick your thoughts on what the CRC is recommending as to what the new structure should look at and whether it's going to help you or not. But more importantly, I also see in what the CRC is reporting or is recommending, I see a sense that they want to give you your place of pride. They want to give you some more prominence, and they also want to elevate you, basically. But I think it's the how they want to do it, and that's what I want to pick your thoughts on. So you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. I have Dr. Nimwe Thompson, a development economist, but more importantly, he's the chair of the National Development Planning Commission. Okay, my production team tells me that we can hold on with a break now. It looks like they're enjoying the show. So we can carry on with this. So no, but Doc will need time. So if we have to take this break, let's take it now because you need time to explain this because there's a background to why I asked the question. You look at this, and it's under Chapter 3 of the CRC.
Right.
Which talks about harnessing our collective resources, financing investment for sustainable development. And it says this chapter focuses on the constitutional rules, institutions, and practices that govern the ownership, management, and coordination of Ghana's land, natural resources, public finance, investment, and how these arrangements shape accountability, development planning, and long-term national outcomes.
Exactly.
And then it starts with you. National Development Plan. And it talks about legislative and budgetary alignment to the National Development Plan. It talks about nature and ownership of the National Development Plan. This is what I find very interesting. The ownership of the National Development Plan, the implementation of the National Development Plan, and then also amendment of the National Development Plan, and then implementing the direct principles of state policy. These 4 very important things. Stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana. Look how you're going to box all of this, and so that we can finish in 10. All right. You're live in Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My guest is still seated here. Dr. Nimwe Thompson is the chair of NDPC and is walking us through the role that the NDPC intends to play if and when the CRCS report is implemented. Doc, I asked you a question about structure.
Sure.
Without a favorable ecosystem, you won't be able to do all the things you want to do. But I'm looking at some of the recommendations that have been made by the Kwesi Prempeh Committee. I don't know what your thoughts are. Is this good or bad for you?
It's not an either or. I put them into three categories,
Okay.
what I call the 3 R's.
All right.
One was the part of it that's relevant.
Okay.
There's a second part that we thought is redundant, so we really don't have to implement that. And then there's a third aspect that's regressive. It actually takes us back compared to what we already have now.
Okay.
The relevant part is what we've already discussed, given the directive principles, pride of place in national development, reminding us that it is binding on all political parties and all citizens, and so many things. We read in introductory. So it's,
And the fact that it's not going to be made, it's not going to be justiciable. You don't do it,
it's now going to be, it's now going to be.
justiciable.
So individuals will have the right
take it
to
court
actually
if you don't do it.
demand
Right.
that the government should do certain things. For
Right.
example, we're just reviewing maternal deaths the other day. Nationally, the average is 301 maternal deaths for every 100,000 people.
Okay.
Greater Accra is 190, still very high compared to the 70 said by UND. But for certain parts of the northern region, it's, I think Upper West is one of them, it's as high as 460 maternal deaths. With this new framework, people they can actually demand government interventions to do that. Currently, we have a situation where we seem to live at the mercy of politicians.
Right.
This changes everything and imposes the responsibility. So it's not like you're doing anybody a favor anymore.
Okay.
It's your mandate. Once you're appointed or elected, you have to do that.
Do it or face the consequences.
Exactly. Because, and this one also makes it so explicit, the budget that the Minister of Finance presents must make explicit reference to the directive principles of state policy that we're implementing it. So what we are going to do is to have the long-term plan, the medium-term plan, which then informs the short-term plan. And then that is paired with the budget. Currently, as I speak with you, as I said, the practice is that every MDA and also the 261 MMDAs must bring their plans to NDPC for verification and certification before they're even allowed to go to the Ministry of Finance to ask for budgetary allocations. Wow. And without that in the past we didn't do that. But in 2025, a number of alliances actually came into being for us to advance that. So the Minister, Honorable Atu Forson, made it a condition. He even went as far as withholding their third quarter disbursements until they've made the necessary submissions. Honorable Kudjo Ponkroma, who's the ranking member for the Economy and Development Committee. Yeah. It's a very powerful committee. For some reason, it doesn't have the same high profile. But he made he submitted a private member's bill in Parliament saying that no plan, no cash. So a lot of these recommendations fit perfectly. There are recommendations for us to work with political parties, which is very, very critical. We're already contemplating that. For years, we've been developing what we call the Policy and Legislative Almanac to guide political parties in the preparation of their manifestos. I've worked as a director of research for the CPP before, and I knew the challenges of developing a manifesto when you have limited information. This particular initiative will bridge that. How to formulate policies, even introduce political parties to results-based management is very critical for organizational effectiveness, because some of the political party members may become ministers in the future. And they need to understand how to manage organizations and how to make a distinction between effort and results. Too often we stop at efforts and we forget about the results part. So all those are the relevant portions of the recommendations, and I'm very happy with that.
Okay.
Then we come to the redundant part where we are being asked to work with the district assemblies and so forth and so on. That we already do.
Right.
So there's no need for us to be told to do that. In fact, we do that and more.
Right.
We work with the district assemblies, we work with the MDAs, and we also work with the RCCs, Regional Coordinating Councils, which are not even referenced in this one. The new proposed structure, and this is where the regressive aspect comes in, somehow leaves out regional representation original
Because for now,
representative.
the proposal is to have a minister responsible for finance and economic planning.
Yes.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, the government statistician.
It should have
head of
ended
land
there.
use.
It should have ended there.
Oh, you don't need it. Land
No,
use
no,
and
no.
special
We
planning
don't need
authority?
all those things. The current
EPA.
No, the current structure ends there and then gives us a very flexible framework.
Okay.
Where the president would appoint people on the basis of their skills as and when we need them. That's flexibility. When you introduce things like head of land use and spatial planning authority, head of environmental protection authority, you are getting unduly specific. That's one. Two, it's misleading because the commission at that level is supposed to be represented by policymakers, ministers. These are heads of implementing agencies. And so you're basically, there's no way a minister is going to sit in a meeting with the head of another ministry's implementing agency. But it doesn't mean that we don't work with them. As I speak with you, we actually have the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority on one of our thematic committees. So we're already working with them. Environmental and Protection Agency, the law requires us to have what we call cross-sectorial groups, which brings in so many. So this one takes away that flexibility. And that's why I'm saying that it's regressive. Because that flexibility, when you go further down, it starts from A to K. And then K says an engineer nominated by association of, I mean, come on. There are so many different types of engineers to begin with. We have computer engineers, civil engineers. So which one? But the current structure that we're operating with now allows us to have as many engineers as possible for any task that we're undertaking without having them necessarily as commissioners.
I got you.
And when we prepared the coordinated program for the president, we actually have the services of 3 different engineers. The law allows us to do that, where we look around, bring in people based on their CVs, and then afterwards we thank them, they thank us, and they're actually quite grateful that we give them this opportunity to work. And then, as I said, there's the redundant part where we have been asked to do something that we're already doing. I was on a program with Professor Kwesi Prempeh the other day, and I raised those issues. I told him, listen, if I were to score it, I would say the relevant part is about 80% of the recommendations, which is good. But it's good. I'm very, again, I can't say this enough. I'm very happy that the directive principle of state policy is getting its place in the sun. It's been there for way too long. We tried to highlight it. We put it on the cover of the 40-year development plan. It still did not gain traction. So if this is what it's going to take for us to do that, then I'm all for it. I'm really all for it. I love it personally as the best part of the Constitution. I even think, and I'll talk to Haruna about this, it needs to be taught in the schools also. We need to be aware because it covers everything.
It does.
Even the word productivity, which we misconstrue all the time, it's clearly explained in the directive principles of state policy. The difference between productivity, which deals with process, and then production, which is the output. It's all in the directive principles. A fantastic part of the Constitution.
In a minute, where do we go from here?
We have started our work. As I said, we've already created a matrix even before the government has accepted the recommendations. We see the good part. This is part of the relevant part. So we have a matrix alongside the 5 dimensions of development. We started the process of preparing hopefully, what will be the final long-term national development plan. It's a composite of all plans previously done by the previous government. People keep thinking that the problem is in the change of government. But that is not always the case because the previous government had 8 years. They had 3 different documents, the Ghana Beyond Aid, Ghana at 100, and 2057, Ghana 2057 framework. And none of them were implemented by the same government. So it's not a question of one government. There may be an element of that a government comes in and chooses not to implement what the previous government did. But the fact that the same government could not implement 3 different frameworks means that there are deep-seated systemic institutional issues.
Bottlenecks,
Seriously, the issue of leadership. I told you we did in 6 months what was done in 23 months. So process reforms, institutional reforms, leadership, proactive leadership. All those things come together. At the commission level, as I said, we have a fantastic Director General who rose through the ranks, so she knows everything. I learn a lot from her when I'm struggling with what is happening at the local. My own personal obsession is local economic development. Without dealing with that, national development fails. And she's my unpaid professor when it comes to
and speaking about local development, it features quite prominently in the CRC's report. Unfortunately, we don't have time to look at that. I've said that if I had 2 hours, I could spend all the time with Dr. Ningwe Thompson. Unfortunately, time was always not our best friend. And so we'll have to end the conversation.
We'll continue at the palm wine.
No, we have to.
Yes,
very important, And but we should do a part 2 of this. We should do
no
a part
problem,
2 of this.
no problem.
Yeah, we should do a part 2 of this. Except that you're too busy, but we'll still find.
We'll find a way
out. We'll figure
Never
a way out.
too busy for Ghana.
Well, Manche.
Thank you.
Olado, thank you so very much for joining us. Dr. Nimwe Thompson is the chair of NDPC, National Development Planning Commission. He is also a product of the school of Marcus Garvey and an Africanomist as well. But yes, simply put, he's a development economist. Thank you very much for your time. It's been wonderful having you join us.
Play a song of Marcus Garvey.
Yes, we'll do that. Bright, is it late to play something Marcus Garvey for Doc? Well, never by this time. Anyway, so Doc, thank you. Thank you. And wish you all the best. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day. Thank you so very much. So my guest is seated. Will be taking us. We're here for the next 1.5 hours. Gabriela Teta is here. She's a member of the NDC's communications team, and also Kofi Tonto, his political lead to Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, who is an aspiring standard bearer of the NPP and also former Vice President and a former candidate of the NPP in the 2024 elections. And so it promises to be a very interesting conversation. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Then they tell us that, well, the dollar has come down. So because the dollar has come down, we should all be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, if the dollar comes down and the market woman doesn't see it in her pocket, how does it benefit her? How many of you here have changed dollar this year? How many of you here have seen dollar in the last 5 years? So we are telling the government, maybe they've forgotten since they go to the Jubilee House. They should follow us in this computation. Antia Kosua is a tomato seller. Antia Kosua lives in Wasa Dompem. She has a daughter who is a student at the University of Ghana, and the daughter is a resident at the Vandi Hostel. Antia Kosua is making about 18,000 every year. 80,000 every year is about 2,500 or 3,000, thereabout. That's what she gets every month too. Until every month, after selling all her tomatoes, she gets a profit, 3,000 thereabout. That's almost about some 300, 400 cedis a day thereabout. Now, these are the expenses Antia Kosua has to make every year. In the year 2024, under the MPP government that the NDC said was wicked, Antia Kosua was paying electricity of 3,600 by the end of the year. Antia Kosua water bill in 2024 was 960. Antia Kosua's school fees was 1,650. Antia Kosua's child's hostel fee at Ivandi in 2024 was 6,200. Now guess what? The NDC is telling Antia Kosua that Antia Kosua, you're okay, don't complain, you are fine because the dollar has come down. How can the dollar come down and you're asking me to rest because I'm okay when I am paying 4,613 as electricity against 3,600 in 2024? You have increased electricity by 28% in 12 months. When you were in opposition, you told us that the MPP government was wicked and that when you come, you will make electricity affordable. How can dollar come down and you are increasing electricity? Abba. Dollar has come down, that is true. But why is the dollar coming down and electricity going up? Water bill, Antia Kosua was paying 960. Today, Antia Kosua is paying 1,151 for water bill because you have increased water bill by 15%. Then when I tell you my water bill is expensive than it was in December, you tell me it was in December 2024, you tell me dollar has come down. My daughter, Antia Kosua's daughter, that was at the University of Ghana, where you said you will give them stress-free loans to pay their fees. In 2024, she was paying 1,650 for the daughter. In 2025, where you say Antia Kosua should not speak because dollar has come down, Antia Kosua is paying 2,350 as fees. And she's paying 7,800 as hostel fee for her daughter at Ivandi. She used to pay 6,200 in 2024. But you are telling Antia Kosua that keep quiet, dollar has come down, inflation has come down. Let's go to the next person. Madam Mata. Then they tell us that, well, the dollar has come down. So because the dollar has come down, we should all be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, if the dollar comes down and the market woman doesn't see it in her pocket, how does it benefit her?
The People's Forum was organized to give people the opportunity to access the government's first year in office. Some market women, drivers, workers, among others present at the forum share their economic realities with the news team.
Two, necessary for my real school. Me, the back can be. Luna made a share. What's on for my juma? A good father die. What's so much more feeling? Yeah, that's what about Fabby. I said the woman in Negro. Papa, yes, Remo. Catch your mamma say, Emma, yeah, bread.
I might be ampuntu, ejina, and woman so education so. And I buy M1 of whom I didn't say, a year sustainable goal. Development no for no higher quality education for all those who have attained school going age, you know. One of whom I say rural areas and also so. A bit to me adru ho. Now I'm who your teacher in our was our farm place in of district war. But be a do Tibeto crano, adding. Who wants a order ho, na jo, empire, a dear fusi, I also. And a more ding, a more ding pa.
You're still watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My guests are already seated. And as I did indicate, Gabriela Tete is a member of the NDC's communications team, and also Kofi Tonto. He is a deputy spokesperson for the Bawumia campaign, a former political aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and also a member of the MPP's communications team. So, a gentleman and a lady, good morning. And good to see the two of you. How are you?
Very well.
Well, not bad. Small. I've always wanted to ask you, who's your fashion designer? Person does very well.
Oh, so this one actually, the name escaped me a bit.
Okay. Accra based?
I think this is Slim Fitters or something.
Accra based?
Yeah. Okay. It's a young guy.
Okay.
He did this for me about 2 years ago.
He's very good.
I have different people that I go to.
Oh, you go to? You're a big man, so it's understandable.
What I'm wearing.
Everybody wants to sew for you. for free. If you're a good man, you're a big man. People want to do things for you for free.
I'm sitting here with a big woman who is in power.
You mean Gabriela?
The woman in power.
Gabriela?
Big in power, big in person. You know,
how's it going?
He just wants to rub on you this morning.
He hasn't seen you in a while. Let him do his.
I only see him on TV defending giddy.
He has to. That's why he's a party communicator.
But they haven't been fair to Gabriela.
Kofi, how are you?
They haven't been fair to.
Why?
Kofi, I said, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Why hasn't the party?
Why is she not a CEO?
Oh,
or a deputy
maybe
minister?
She doesn't want.
Or a presidential staffer.
What topics are we discussing?
No, why is Gabriela not a CEO, a presidential staffer? They have increased. They have increased budget.
I want to run small commentary on Dr. Nimoy Thompson's presentation.
Okay.
And do you have the floor?
Yeah, please. You have just 5 minutes.
Recently I've been this Asian Harvard professor that I follow his podcast on Instagram. Usually that app tempts me to shop, but I found some nice podcasts that I can listen to.
I've seen that.
And he breaks down the Chinese models into very, very simple, easy to understand concepts and how China's development paradigm and strategy really works.
Okay.
And to bring it down to what Dr. Nimoy was saying, the importance of us to have a national development strategy.
Right.
That skeletal framework that determines where we are going as a country. Because when you see the Chinese are able to plan. They can even think centuries in advance because of how their civilization is. And their development plans feed into that. Now we're under Silk and what band. And he was saying something. This particular podcast was around the time that they came up with their budget. And he was doing a comparison between the Western world and the Chinese. And he said, typically, when finance ministers, equivalents, read the budget, you discuss it in the media, maximum a week.
Right.
Everybody goes to sleep.
True.
And then there's no follow-through on the citizenry on how to participate in the budget.
Right.
But the Chinese think differently.
Okay.
For the Chinese, when the budget is read, they are the first people to look for a copy of the budget because that's where they are going to identify what subsidies is the government putting in place, especially for those who are into industry and manufacturing. And that's one of the reasons why China is a powerhouse. So the citizens who are into different activities, they deliberately identify what those subsidies are and chase after them.
Okay.
They look at where the incentives are, they chase after them. Where are the infrastructure projects coming up in, and they chase after them. So even though a budget was read, unlike us that will discuss it a week and two, and will criticize and will damn and will, whatever we'll do with it, everybody goes to sleep.
Okay.
There's a follow-through from the citizens. And it comes to when we come up with all these development plans and all these programs that government introduces, where is the follow-through from the citizens? Because if you've observed, all governments, successive governments, keep coming up with one initiative after the other. But we keep coming up with the same conclusion, that those initiatives are failing. Why are they failing? One, participation was poor. We don't want to admit it. What is made reference to, it's filled with serious corruption because patronage, political patronage plays more of an active role in these things than the actual people who need it. And they will have this tepsy-turvy development trajectory as a country. And then that's why we'll still be sitting here having this conversation. We have first one of the graphs that you showed was on how much funding goes to private sector and compared to, how much growth we've had in, I think, private sector financing. And why we have so much dominance of foreign players.
Yeah.
Did we not attempt to bring in local participants into the financing sector? And what happened to them?
They've all collapsed.
By government.
Yes.
But if you were to go deep down into an audit of why they collapsed, who owed them? Majority of the debt.
Right.
Government.
True.
So we keep coming in this same cycle of repeating ourselves. And it's important that beyond having conversations around these things, we need to do more than just have conversations. It has to be that follow-up too.
Right.
In 2015 or 2016, I flew my then boss to Rwanda.
Okay.
Went for a program on developmental states. And again, we like to reference the achievement of the Asian Tigers and how the Asian Tigers became the Asian Tigers. We can't sit here and say we all achieved independence at the same time, so we have to grow and we are comparing ourselves to our peers. They did a whole lot of things differently. For them, the concept of a developmental state is eminent in their development plan, and that is why they achieved the things they achieved. What were we doing here? You start the plan, there's either a coup or a government will change, they will abrogate it, we don't like your plan, we can't work with your plan, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that, and we've been here for the last 60 years.
Yeah, it's the nature of our politics.
You need to bring Dr. Nimoy Thompson back to have a deeper conversation.
I understand.
And see how NDPC
can change that.
He made reference that you need to teach these things in schools.
Yeah.
The citizen, I don't know what NCCE does these days, but the citizenry have to be educated and direct them into following up with some of these initiatives. And that's how we're going to build the country.
I agree with you.
If we come at and talk, we'll be talking, another generation will come and complain and accuse us of the same sins that we are accusing our forefathers of. So that's my 2 cents on
I agree.
that conversation.
And I think that you've summed it all up. You've summed it all up. I mean, this was not meant to be a part of our conversation for this section of the show, but
I'm glad I got it.
I think that I think you've said it all. You've said it all. It's extremely important. But Kofi, I want us to. So I want us to move because we don't have a lot of time.
I want to quickly
you want to say
touch
something?
base.
Okay.
I think she raises some very solid points.
Okay.
Again, this is not an issue to be debated or politicized. And I really love your brain on this subject. I don't know if you've done some research work.
Right.
But you seem to have a grasp.
I think that's what she's doing. She's doing it at a master's level? Development economist.
No, I did social science in my first degree.
Okay.
But I actually worked with Dr. Nimoy Thompson and
Oh.
Professor Kwesi Botwe and Co.
No
in
wonder.
some time. He's a very good friend of mine, actually. If we see how we're rapping of each other over this.
So that explains
a passion.
Your appreciation for the issues.
Yeah.
And so I think I wouldn't want to litigate it too much, except to
Right.
say that your views were cogent. I think largely it comes down to commitment. Commitment on political parties, aligning our vision and our plans to a broader plan, the broader contours. And I like the word you use. I think you said the skeleton framework. Is that what
skeletal framework.
Yeah, because obviously, let's also be careful. We vote for political parties for their vision.
True.
So you cannot necessarily curtail their vision for the nation. President Mahama has a vision. He wants to achieve.
But I guess what she's trying to say.
No,
is
no,
that
no. I'm not even referring to.
No,
her.
I get that. But
Yeah.
I know where you're drawing inspiration from making this comment. But you see, political parties cannot be estopped from basically selling their manifesto, so drafting it and selling it. But in doing that, it must be done within a certain framework.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I was coming
I think
from.
that's where she's coming from.
And that's
so
why
that
I
it
was-
doesn't deviate entirely from what we have agreed we want to do or we
Yes.
want to go. But then it will come down to so the National Development Planning Commission will be looking at what ought to be done.
Yeah.
The political parties will tell us how they intend to do it, and that's what will feed into the manifesto.
Exactly, and
I think that's where she's coming from.
my boss actually announced his plan for this in 2024 when he
Right.
addressed the nation. I'll
Yeah.
read it very quickly.
Okay.
It says, propose the amendment of Articles 86 and 87 of the 1992 Constitution, as well as the National Development Commission Act, Act 479, to mandate political party manifestos and consequently the economic and social policies of government, as well as budgets to align to an agreed broader framework, as we were saying. So I just wanted to sort of piggy that into the whole conversation. So I think she raises some good points. And if we can all do that, it will really help.
So then we all have to support NDPC to stand firm.
Yes.
At the end of the day, whether fuel prices go up or not, whether our roads are tight, whether we have hospitals or not, whether we have clean communities or not, it actually falls under
I agree.
NDPC.
I agree.
Ato Forson can stabilize all the dollars and everything that he wants, but if NDPC doesn't channel...
Artificially stabilized.
Well,
You know,
if NDPC,
You are on air.
forgive me, if NDPC, he's my friend, that's all.
I know.
If NDPC is not supported
Yeah.
to help us achieve those gains
Yeah.
and have sustained gains,
Forget
not
it.
just we'll still be going up and down, sir. And in 70 years' time, we'll go to Black Star Square and we'll go and whine and whine and whine. And when citizens will cry and cry and cry, and they'll still call
Back to
politicians.
square one.
You know?
I think that the NDPC and the job they do has not been fully appreciated by Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And it's also because they talk less.
That's true.
They talk less, but I'm sure that's one
No,
of the
I
things
think
that
we don't
Dr.
appreciate
Nigwe
it
Thompson wants
because
to
we are
also
overly
address.
partisan. Look,
Yeah.
we can play around the issue all we want. But Gabriella and I sitting here, when we go back, you see, sometimes when we even come and sit here, and you make a point, there are party people who will tell you, Charlie, you are too soft, or you are too this, or you are too that, or you have to, we've become overly partisan.
Yeah.
I remember I commended President Mahama recently on an issue. Yeah, people were
You were attacked.
No,
You were criticized.
People will criticize you.
Wow.
That is our politics. So you cannot even bridge, for any reason. You must necessarily toe the line at all times. Why can't I criticize someone and then also comment if the person is making, So we've become overly partisan as a society.
And I honestly don't know how we're going to change this.
Yeah.
I mean, the NCC, yes, I agree that they have a role to play in this, but I don't know whether the NCC alone can do this. But anyway, let's move on. You have in the next 15 minutes, you have a very important assignment to undertake. And when I say you, as in your team, you want to win the elections, your party's presidential elections, or presidential primaries. And of course, as a party, you have an important event to discharge. Now, prior to this, I'm sure you have heard all kinds of things. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is campaigning, Kenny Japan is campaigning, Kwabena J. Japan is campaigning, Dr. Osei Yaw Edutum is campaigning, and Dr. Brady Champo. Now, there are people who are concerned that it's more of where people are coming from, as a tribe, religion, and less of what the people intend to do for the party. Okay? And there's gotten a lot of people worried. Now, just recently, Professor Frimpong Boateng was on a platform, and he mentions that, plus other reasons why he thinks that the MPP of today is not the MPP that he joined. And that something has fundamentally gone wrong with the party. And then he goes ahead to describe that as a fake party. And then when he was pushed to explain what a fake party is, he said some of the things I've said. Plus, he said Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was literally imposed. In fact, the elections were rigged in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So basically, people were forced to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia against their express will. We've seen the party's statement in response to that. The party says, the General Secretary says, I've triggered the processes to basically, to get Professor Frimpong Boateng to come and answer for those questions he made, and so to take disciplinary action against him, because what he has done constitutes an anti-party behavior. Now you have the likes of Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, who is saying that if you dare to dismiss Professor Frimpong Boateng from the party, then me, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, count me out. Sack me too. Sack Dr. Atta Kennedy. Sack Mr. Kwame Pinim, because we've all criticized the party in very harsh ways, or very harshly. So that's the Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo angle. But there are also people who are asking that, okay, if you're saying what the man has said is anti-party behavior, why don't you take him to the disciplinary committee? Why the National Executive Council? And that's like you are the General Secretary. It appears wants him out, even in advance, because take him to the disciplinary committee. If it doesn't, then you can escalate it to the National Executive Council or committee. In today's daily guide, Napo, who is a former education minister and also a former energy minister, is asking the delegates to vote for Unifa Bawumia. It says Napo tells MPP. And this one is in today's daily guide, as I said, is from IM Joe Ewa. And I'm saying all of this because I want to put all of that in perspective for me. Now, the New Patriotic Party delegates have been urged to vote massively for former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a party's flag bearer. Making the appeal, Dr. Matthew Poko Prempeh, a.k.a. Napo, the MPP running mate for the 2024 poll, said the party needs total unity and oneness to win the 2020 elections. Sounding very confident, he stated emphatically that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia throughout his political career has proven to be peaceful and a unifier, so he should lead the party to victory. Napo, who is a former energy minister, also said Dr. Bawumia is tried-tested and proven, stressing that among the aspirants, he is best positioned to lead the MPP to recapture power in 2028. Kobi, what do you make of all of this?
I was not there in 1992 when the party was formed. It took efforts of great minds and great people to form this party. The party had antecedents dating back to the UP tradition.
In fact, some people say UGCC.
Yes. To become what it became in 1992. That party had a vision. That party had a plan for Ghana and its people. Development in freedom, to unleash the potential of the people within the nation. That was the spirit behind the formation of the MPP, that we must form a party that believes in the individual capacity. That was the spirit of the MPP. The spirit of the MPP was not to form a party that believes in only those who formed the party in 1992. I don't think President Akufo-Addo, Frimpong Boateng, the Ajay worked tirelessly to form the MPP because they wanted to form a party for a group of friends. They wanted to form the party to unleash the potential in all Ghanaians, especially those who align with the MPP, as far as the party is concerned. So it beats imagination when in the process of building that party, new leaders emerge, new creatives emerge, and such people are reminded that where were you when we formed the party in 1992? That is an anti-party stance to take. I hope you get the point that I'm making. Because, for example, when the party was formed in 1992, I was 5 years old. I'm 38 years old now. Today, I sit here to represent the party. I also sat here to represent the party in the most difficult times. When we had the economic crisis, some of us had to put our credibility on the line to defend the party. I was not there in 1992, but I'm unleashing the talent God has given me. So if tomorrow an opportunity emerges and I'm to take advantage, then someone comes to remind me that 1992, when we were forming the party, you were not there. Why am I giving you this, preceding argument? Because that's the very fulcrum of Professor Frimpong Boateng's argument. Pay attention to his details. That some people were not there. We formed the party. We are the true owners of the party.
Get the wow deal for just 39 cities.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354, also 0531 600 360, and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Freddy once now.
Hey, that's you. Impruka. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Me did this sasso spray. Mr. Freddy sasso quell. Yeah, cool to my sasso.
Come tum preko.
Turn your into Get the wow deal for just 39 cities.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a Kitwa.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy man for Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so buying, a man is swing, and a sense of Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
In a world where everything is connected, your business's security is only as strong as its weakest link. The growing threat of cybercrime has become an unescapable reality. In 2025 alone, the projected cost of cybercrime is expected to grow to $10 trillion globally, with small-medium businesses disproportionately targeted. Cyber threats have become increasingly sophisticated, widespread, and invisible, placing unequipped organizations at risk of massive damages in a matter of seconds. Meet Virtual InfoSec Africa, Ghana's Tier 1 certified managed security service provider. We don't just monitor threats, we predict, prevent, and respond 24/7. At Virtual InfoSec Africa, we deliver bold and cost-effective cybersecurity solutions tailored to your organization's size and complexity. Whether you're a startup or a national institution, our services scale with your needs. We offer 24/7 SOC monitoring, early warning threat intelligence, managed detection and response, digital forensics and incident response, and predictive analysis and threat hunting. From endpoint protection to dark web forensics, we secure every layer of your digital ecosystem. Why wait for a breach to act? Join the ranks of high institutions who trust Virtual InfoSec Africa to secure their future. Start your 3-month free trial of our early warning threat intelligence platform today. For more inquiries, contact 055-689-2086 or visit our website at www.virtualinfosecafrica.com.
Healthy soil is where every great harvest begins. At ACAP, we turn waste into wealth, producing rich organic compost made right here in Ghana for our farmers and our future. Whether you are planting small or big, ACAP compost improves your soil, boosts your yields, and saves you money. Even in your own home garden, give your soil life naturally. ACAP compost, from waste to wealth.
Start your Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Being respectful and polite is good, but is it enough? Our world could be a better place if more people stayed curious and were not afraid of trying.
These are important values for children to learn because no matter what surprises the future brings, curious, confident kids will change our world. Nido is specially formulated with iron, vitamin C, and A. Nido, your love, their future.
This advert is FDA approved.
Semi general well-being enkoye kwao. Amama ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nancy me hu se me nyo basima kra. Amama kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oyiwa. Enye monko. Give us GC mixture and in capsules. Aye numbum. En wasam na mo kana. E bua emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya we be bua wukru ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum na wanyinya nanim ti sese ne oyi chokmo na GC mixture and a capsule. Achisa.
A painful about one more menu for one kwada when you feel to me.
Achisa. Wabedum tamaso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makoya mabesisia. A bozig. I can say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji, I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral?
Say a Pesori insecticide GB at a user. For pharmacy in a shop biamu. Na mum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu to a cotonwa. On for Royal Dutch and our Aerofield Trading. FE spray with daimwa.
Good morning, Mr. Ding.
Good morning, Ejako. And why do you keep staring at my rubbish container?
I'm surprised you're still using a bin without a cover. You know it can cause a mess.
My bin is just fine. Look, there is no leakage, still solid and robust. If you will excuse me, I have work to do.
Yo.
Dustbins are a great way of keeping trash off the streets and homes. However, the use of bins without fitting covers pose a challenge with stench from rotten items, flies, and scavengers. Keep the environment clean and healthy. Get dustbins with fitting covers.
Then they tell us that the dollar has come down.
You're live. Good morning, Ghana on Metro Television. Let's sincerely apologize for that technical hitch. We had a challenge with our audio, but our technical people have fixed it now, so we're good to go. So once again, we sincerely apologize. Apparently, when Kofi Tonto was talking, I think the last 5 to 7 minutes or so of his comment, of his speech, some of you didn't hear him at all. And so what we'll do is that perhaps we'll get him to basically summarize his issue and then, or his point, or his argument, and then Gabriela will come in. Kofi, we're sorry about that. I didn't know. In fact, the first person who sent me a message to tell me that we were off the DSTV sound was Colonel Festus Aboagye, the renowned international relations man and the security analyst. Yes, was the one who said. Then Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo, Kojo Chumbuafo, and so on. There's quite a number of people. I've heard about 50 messages. So it tells you how much this has caused some discomfort to our viewers. So we're sorry. We're so sorry about that. I hope it doesn't happen again. Please.
Well, I think you can.
I can bring in Gabriela.
Yeah, and then I'll come in
that's
later.
fine. That's fine.
Regather.
That's fine. That's fine.
The momentum.
Gabriela, would you want to chop your house matter, or this one is not house matter?
The last time I came, you asked me the same question, and I gave you my response.
It hasn't changed. The policy hasn't changed.
I can't chop my house matter because I'm not one to be known to be chopping my house matter.
I hear you.
Just that don't question me.
I hear you.
Moro.
Yes, boss.
It is sad to see the NPP. What was that your motto you told us again?
Development in freedom. Yes.
What is freedom?
But you are the one talking.
No, you can't give me the definition of freedom.
I'm not a dictionary.
Hey, Kofi.
Go ahead and
Moro. It is interesting that, in fact, it's not even, it is sad that a political party whose motto is development in freedom, be free, have your liberties. Today, can't allow patriots to express themselves because they have different opinions than what their status quo allows them to assume.
Gabriela, to tell your party it's a fake party, that hurts.
But if the party is not behaving like the old version of the party that you knew, you are free to criticize it, are you not? After all, don't you pay dues? How much do you pay dues? 1 cedi. What's your dues?
You go ahead.
Okay. At least.
Gabriela's mischief has come far.
They all pay dues. So they are all entitled to their opinion in the party. That's what that's the beauty of a democracy.
Right.
In local parlance, you can't say. Kasana minkebi. Is that not how they say?
Kebi minkebi.
Kebi minkebi. And see, who can what there? Onosha can there. So where's the AE?
Okay.
But you see, the unfortunate thing is that, and this is why it is sad, that a political party that says it is democratic and it believes in development in this supposed freedom of theirs, which I think that now we have to ask them what they define freedom to mean, now can't allow people to criticize you. You can't allow different opinions in
within your fold. You want everybody to toe. There's an expression. It's not dead goat. There's a head mentality. You know, everybody is going in this direction. And then that one person who says, no, where we are headed, we are going to fall down the ditch. And we hurt ourselves. Then everybody goes like, shut up, we are going. Then you go and then you fall into the ditch. You see, Kofi, the Republic of Ghana needs the NPP. At least, you have to still survive as a political party. But the way things are going with you guys, it begs the question. Are you becoming like, I don't want to mention a party that I liked years ago, but anyway, they're very weak now. But are you becoming like the CPP and the PACs who have now gone into partial paralysis? Or you want to still maintain yourselves as the second dominant political party in Ghana? Because you guys have to clean house. You are behaving like spoiled children. The whole flag bearership campaign you guys are running is bereft with insulting each other. You claim you have policy ideas that you are sharing amongst your own selves. Your policy ideas are not even coherent. They don't even resonate with the people of Ghana. In fact, they're not even resonating with your own delegates. So now everything has become, we are coming, we are Timmy, and you've lost touch with what is substantive, the substantive issues, the bread and butter issues that we need of an opposition political party. That is now lost on us as a country. But I don't blame you. When you go to an election and you come out with 38%, sometimes it affects your confidence.
Yeah, like Muhammad got 34%.
But there's a comeback, and the comeback now puts you into the 38%.
And we'll come back stronger.
So you guys have to clean house. But the way you are going about things, in fact, it looks like you guys should be in opposition for a very long time. But you see, Moro, and this one, I don't take it personally because I have to jab at Bawumia. And since you are his aide, before you throw your hands and it hits me. You see, former Vice President Bawumia is seen as a protege of Nana Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo in NPP politics, in Ghana politics, has been very dominant since 2008.
Right.
We're talking about almost 2 decades for one man alone. And now the NPP is unable to identify itself in what the NPP has become, the old NPP. And that's why you have conflicting problems, because you are the latter-day saints. The ones who have been there from the beginning, who were there from the beginning of development, who can define the freedom part of the development for us, they know what this LPP stood for. Now, you guys have taken over, and you've become an offshoot of Akufo-Addo, who, as you already know, is a very unpopular man in Ghana. It will take a long time for his legacy to be rectified, and then he'll gain his status as a true statesman. But that's a different conversation. Now, you NPP, Bawumia's camp, these people see former Vice President Bawumia as an extension of Nana Akufo-Addo's dominance. And so definitely you are going to have people within the ranks of the party opposed to the candidature of Bawumia. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean that they must go and contest Bawumia to become flag bearer. And this time I'm making reference to, what's his name? Dr. Frimpong Boateng, who you think that God is choosing Bawumia and Frimpong Boateng is upset. I'm sure Dr. Frimpong Boateng himself knows that if he wants to contest as a presidential candidate on the ticket of the NPP, he has to go for flag bearership elections. He didn't put himself up for flag bearership elections. So that argument you are coming with, there's some jealousy because he didn't go that far. It's not my business, but it's my business, and I think you got it wrong. Then, but let me also add this. The reason why the NPP is upset with Frimpong Boateng, Dr. Frimpong Boateng, I don't know why I keep forgetting the doctor and I just go straight for your name. So if you are watching, please forgive me. But when you do politics, sometimes we forget your titles and we just go with your names. Dr. Frimpong Boateng, they are upset with Dr. Frimpong Boateng because to them, when he was made Minister for Environment, and that is Galamsey report leaked, it became a bad PR for the administration. And they've not been able to forgive him. So no matter what poor Frimpong Boateng does, you can't say, Akumabesa Chrakoko said, the cockroach will dance for the chickens and Yennefe. And Kofi, Momo Janet, You have to find a way to reorganize yourselves. But then I'm more economy. That very cheap way. First year the mommy, 38%. You go through them. I'm not a prophetess, but I know that you go through because everything has been laid out for you to go through. And for going through, you go through. You go through. But I need you to go through.
Why do you need
Because my next flag bearer and my next vice are very astute, credible individuals. And in fact, if your candidate comes anywhere, I don't know who is going to take as his future vice, but you can even bring anybody at all, the best and the glorious in NPP. I know for a fact that my candidate for presidential flag bearership and the vice presidential candidate, when they stand next to Bawumia will disappear like an ant.
Is it an attack on dissent, as she's suggesting?
Moro, you see,
it's attack on dissent.
This is the Fanti Caucus argument she's making.
Okay.
You know, some of them are pushing for Atuforcing. So, you know, the Fanti strategy. I mean, that's all she's
But we
pushing.
have none Nigerians.
No, you know, you think we don't know. We know, but the time will come. We'll have that debate.
You mean
I've seen through her arguments.
You mean there's a Fanti Caucus in the
of
NDC?
Course,
that
of
is
course. To push Atuforcing. And then Haruna Idrisu
to lead the NDC.
To lead the NDC. Oh yeah, and I said
I'm not saying they're my candidates, but let's be realistic.
Well, but
these two names you mentioned, if you put Bawumia next to these two, Bawumia will fall flat. Bawumia's life personality, his intelligence can't match these people. His debating skills doesn't match neither Haruna nor Ato. I mean, there's I don't mention my candidate, but you just brought up names and I'm saying. You brought up names and I'm just saying.
Moro, here's the strategy.
Okay.
Some of them are saying that because, quote unquote, the artificial economy has found grounding, Atuforcing has become attractive. So let's put Mosquito aside or convince him to step aside. You know, Julius Debra, they've told him to cool off completely. He started with the gym and the exercise. You know, he's had to completely.
I thought we were discussing everything.
No, I'm coming. He's had to completely.
Where's the conversation going?
Let me finish my submission. Julius Debra has had to completely put it on ice because he's been told that, Masa, do your job as a chief of staff or go and chase your presidential ambitions. So the exercise with his wife and the Metro men completely stopped. Now, Mosquito is the next general. I mean, of course, the most powerful asset in the NDC. So they are now trying to...
So are we discussing NPP?
Oh, I'm coming there.
Okay.
She started. Okay. She was the one. I'm telling you.
But your matter
no, I'll come there. So they are pushing Mosquito, respectfully asking him to step aside. And then Atuforcing will come in.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Atuforcing will come in with Haruna. And Atuforcing and Haruna, they are her candidates.
Okay.
So that's what she's saying. And the time will come. But anyway,
they are a good pair.
Yeah. So you see,
but they are.
She says they are a good pair.
That's fine.
They are very good pair.
That's fine. But at least now we know.
Oh, so they are very good pair.
But anyways, Moro, I sat here. Unfortunately, about 7 minutes of my submission was off air.
Okay.
I sat here and said, I have no issues with Professor Frimpong Boateng criticizing the party. He's not the only person to criticize the party.
Yeah.
As young as I am, I have constructively criticized the party. But when you say the MPP is fake, and me and a few of us, we are not part of the fake party. You see, Moro, irrespective of the challenges of your party and how you deem your party, you don't label a group of people fake and then label yourself real. Tabrella, get it right. Nobody is saying that he shouldn't criticize. But you don't put yourself on a pedestal as if you are better than everybody. And you actually said it. That a group of us, we are virtual MPP. We are the good ones. And the rest of them are fake. That is what he did. So we are talking about constructive criticism or destructive criticism. Know the difference. Now, you say he's criticizing because Bawumia is an extension of Akufo-Addo. Let me tell you, who fought for Akufo-Addo to become the leader of MPP? Kennedy Agyapong was one of the most vociferous voices. Moro, I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
Stood up against Alan Kyerematen that we are bringing Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Another one, Brian Achampong, stood up for Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo made him a minister twice, in charge of agriculture and national security. 40% of the economy was in the hands of Brian Achampong, who's more of a prodigy than that. Then, what's his name? Adichum. Adichum there. Akufo-Addo literally brought him from America. But Frimpong Boateng tells us that he's fine with all of them. All of them, he's fine with them. So when you talk about antecedents of Akufo-Addo, when you talk about extension of Akufo-Addo, and you say you are fine with Kennedy Agyapong, you are fine with Brian Achampong, you are fine with Adichum, but you are not fine with Bawumia. Why? Am I daft not to see that you have hatred for one person and not the rest? When you say, you claim that he didn't put himself up for flag bearer, of course he can't. Because he's put himself up before and he failed woefully. But the point is this. It's not me saying that he wants to be president too. He said it in the interview that he would have been a better president. He said it. He exhibited his so-called qualities that he would have been a better president. Now, Dr. Frimpong Boateng, imagine you are the leader of an institution and your subordinate who sits in your meeting thinks that he is better than you, Dr. Frimpong Boateng. How would you feel? You openly sat on national TV and said that or suggested that you are better than Akufo-Addo. You are better than your boss. So the whole time you were in meetings with Akufo-Addo, that was your thinking, that you were better than Akufo-Addo. You would have done better with Ghana. That is what we are talking about. So don't create any impression. We are taking the man's words and interrogating them. Let's imagine Ato Forson coming out 2 years or 3 years later to say that he would have been a better president than President Mahama. How would you feel? Is that an expression you sit on national platform to make? That you can't harbor your ambition to the extent that you have to openly chastise your boss, that he was so bad that you would have been better than him. And we are supposed to take that as criticism. And he says that Bawumia will be a train wreck. That after we lost the election, we didn't take time to even think over issues and we went straight into another election, which is untrue. After we lost the election, the party constituted a committee, which committee did research. Then our partner agency, Konrad Adenauer, also constituted a research. Then there was even another research by Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu in the Ashanti region. All these works were done. So where from the argument that we lost the election, we didn't do any reflection, and we are going for another election? That's untrue. How is that fair criticism? Then you say that on Asempa, oh, they didn't call me, they didn't show me the report. They should have showed me the report, and then we will all decide if Bawumia is the one we want to support. Those are the issues we are interrogating. His own words. But Professor Frimpong Boateng, nowhere in our history, in our party's history or Ghana's history, where post-election reports are done and they are shown in public, he actually said that we should put the report public. That's what he said. But which political party puts their post-election report public? That we didn't show it to him, we didn't come to him, and then we didn't make it public. So for him, nothing has been done. That's your opinion. That's not a fact. In any case, this Professor Frimpong Boateng telling me that he didn't hear that the party has constituted a committee and that if he had concerns, he could have also gone to the committee. I am sure he's friends with Michael Quay. Gone to the committee to express his views. And when the committee finished their work, certain leadership were giving briefings, not the physical report, but they were briefed about aspects of the report.
Right.
So, Moro, the point we are making is not a case of, saying that somebody cannot criticize the party. Professor Frimpong Boateng has every right to criticize the party. What I am doing is taking his words, and I'm also criticizing his words. That's also part of democracy. My sister. That's also part of freedom of speech. Is that not so? Yes. Don't I have a right to express my views?
But you stand the risk.
Yeah.
The General Secretary of your party has filed, or has initiated processes towards taking some punitive action against him, right? Against Professor Frimpong Boateng. But now you have very, very important personalities in your party, like Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo and co, who are saying that if you sack or you dismiss or you take, what's the name, Professor Frimpong Boateng out of your party, then be prepared to sack all of them. In fact, he says himself, Dr. Kennedy, Kwame Payne, I'm sure he has a tall list. I mean, is this something isn't it something that bothers you?
See,
you're going into a very crucial elections, 2028 elections. I mean, elections are numbers. You need almost everybody on board, And now if you have a situation where you have a Dr. Nyawota, who is actually a founding member of your party, saying that if you do this, these are the consequences. I mean, is this something that bothers you?
First of all, I heard the Deputy General Secretary saying that Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is not a founding member of our party.
Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is not a founding member of our party?
That is what our Deputy General Secretary has said.
Is it Mohammed Haruna? Yes.
Per our records.
He's not a founding member of our party.
He's not a founding member of our party. Number two, Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo himself, according to our Deputy General Secretary, himself has stated publicly that since Mahama became president, he's no longer a part of MPP.
Where did he say this?
I can get the video, but that's why I'm referencing our Deputy General Secretary. I listened to him.
No, hold on. Yeah. You're saying the first one was said by your Deputy General Secretary.
Yes, and the second one too.
Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is not a founding member of the party.
No, that's what our Deputy General Secretary.
The second one is that you said Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo.
No, my Deputy General Secretary
also said that Dr. Nyawo
Tamaklo is on record
to have said that
he's no longer part of the party now that Mahama has become president.
Really?
Yes. And I'm referencing my Deputy General Secretary.
But the same Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is every day writing opinions about the NPP and what the NPP can do better.
I'm very careful with my words.
Okay.
I am referencing leadership of the party. So if anything, you can litigate it there.
I'm not questioning whether what you're saying is true or false. I'm only questioning the basis for making those comments, because the same, like I'm saying, and it's not about you.
Okay.
And I wish Haruna was here, because the same Nyawo Tamaklo he claims is not a founding member of your party, and Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo saying, allegedly or reportedly, that since the NDC or since Mahama won the next elections, he has nothing to do with the NPP. But the same Nyawo Tamaklo is just saying that if you sack Professor Frimpong Boateng, then sack him too. You cannot sack somebody who is not a member of your party. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo has been saying a lot.
Okay.
I mean, Doc has been saying a lot. I mean, since I became quote-unquote...
If you don't mind, can we call Haruna?
Why not? You can call Haruna.
Right, please call Haruna for us.
Because I listened to him on Joy News.
It's a very interesting matter. If you can get Haruna on phone, we need to speak to him about this matter, because we need to find out where. And the reason I'm asking, one of the reasons I'm asking is Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is a regular view of the issue. And I can tell you that as soon as we went off, he was one of the people who sent me a message that we're off. So
I'm sure Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo has heard this himself. Because I was listening to Haruna on Joy News. And he explained that.
Well, maybe we need to speak to Dr. Nyahota Maklo himself.
No. Before you speak to Dr. Nyahota Maklo, speak to the authority of the party.
No problem. No, Haruna first. Yes,
Which is Haruna.
I agree.
Yes,
because Haruna must tell us that, yes, he said that. And this was the context in which he said that.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then we can find out from Nyahota Maklo whether he said that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so to be fair, so we'll work on that because we have to be a responsible media organization. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so the point I am making is this.
Okay.
Look, political parties have a purpose. Political parties have structures and systems. I don't think everything John Mahama is doing now, His Excellency, everybody in the NDC is happy with it. I don't think so.
My production team has dug out this story too. It says Dr. Nyahota Maklo is not MPP founding member. He has been dismissed, so stop referring to him as such. It is from Anobi Boahen, who is also a former deputy general secretary of the party.
Yes.
Really? But hold on, so what happens? So let's even, no problem. What happened to the amnesty that you granted everybody else? Or it doesn't include those who have been dismissed?
No, amnesty was suspended. People who were suspended.
Oh, okay.
And then people who were dismissed, who will make an effort to come back. Then the party will...
so it comes with TNCs, terms and conditions?
Yeah, of course. People who were suspended.
Okay.
And then it was granted within a specific
Bryce is working
time.
the lines to get through to Haruna.
No problem. It was granted within a specific time for those who were suspended.
Okay.
And then those who left the party or whatever and want to come back, they have to go through a process.
Okay.
To then come back. That was the terms of the amnesty.
Interesting.
It wasn't just a blanket that, no.
Okay.
You have to go through a process.
All right.
But the point I'm making is this. So it cannot be that your role in a party is to openly sit on radio and chastise and condemn the party on a daily basis. In fact, the party has a clause, or most political parties, that if you engage in certain activities which are classified as anti-party positions, that is in itself tantamount to dismissal.
Okay.
So, for example, if I sit here and say that I voted for President Mahama in 2024, it is no longer my right. It is no longer my opinion. Do you get what I'm saying? I have engaged in an anti-party conduct.
Okay.
That is the rule. So let's not create an impression that people can just speak and say whatever they want because we are democracy. Even America today, what is America telling you? That before you come to America, make sure whatever you say on social media, you do what? You do so responsibly. Otherwise, you will look at your social media commentaries and decide whether you come into our country or not. So why is it that in the MPP, we cannot apply rules?
Okay.
That somebody says, I'm a member, then the person wakes up, go and sit on TV, run down the party, and we are supposed to applaud the person and say, oh, you are speaking. No, the party have rules. Constructive criticism. Personally, if I had my rights, and if I was the general secretary, perhaps I would have had my own way of handling the issues. But he is the general secretary.
Okay.
I may say that respectfully, I would have done it this way or that way, but I can never disrespect my general secretary or run him down.
Okay.
That is anti-party conduct.
Okay.
So let's not, again, to your question, let's not create the impression that because you are a member of the party, you spent 8 years. When was the last time you heard Atta Kennedy saying anything positive about MPP? Just give me one in the last 8 years. Just give me one. You spent 8 years running down your party. Not one day of a positive thing about your party. When was the last time you heard Dr. Nyahota Maklo saying anything positive about MPP? Just give me a few. You do that every single day. Even if Akufo-Addo was the devil, sometimes the devil can do something positive.
Okay. Let me read this message from Mancha Bruce II, who is a regular viewer of the show as well. He's sending us this message from Takoradi, where he is a lecturer at the Takoradi Technical University. He says that, Moro, isn't it paradoxical that the NDC would sack Okwanido and Alote Jokos for expressing themselves publicly whilst in the position? He has criticized the MPP for taking steps to expel a member who describes the party as fake. The NDC can't dictate to the MPP. I am not surprised that the NDC has taken over Kenneth Japon's campaign. Amazing convictions. Whether Gabriela likes it or not, Bamia will be our next president come January 2029. West was said of JM when the NDC kept presenting him for elections. We understand all those shenanigans. Manche Bruce II from Takoradi. Saka Salia. Yes. He says Nyaho Tamaklo is a foundation member of the party and not a founding member. Founding members are those members who registered the party at the Electoral Commission in 1992, 5 members of East District. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clarifications. And also, this one here from, Alaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Alaji, okay. He said, good morning, my brother. I'm happy Kofi is in the studio this morning. I just want to find out from him, why is Dr. Mahmoud Bamia in the race? Because Dr. Bamia is on record during the 2024 campaign, and according to him, if Ghanaians fail to vote for him in 2024, then the MPP should forget about the 2028 elections. And according to him, Ghanaians will not be in a position to vote for a Northerner to become a president in 2028. I'm not sure he said that, but anyway. So my question is, why is he in the race when he knows Ghanaians will not be ready to vote for a Northerner to become a president since President Mahama is coming from the north? Kofi, please, I need an answer. Reverend Jones Latte, a lawyer, journalist, and a minister of God, says Kofi Tonto is making a tribalism statement when he referred to the Fanti Caucus. Does Kofi believe there is any Ashanti Northern and Fanti Caucus in the NPP? Dismissing a person from a political party does not negate the fact that a person is a founding member of a party. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has been there in UP, PP, and NPP. Yes, Prosper Shikwe from Asylum downstairs. Let Kofi Tonto understand that Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is an avid viewer of GMG. Yeah, he knows. And I'm sure Doc will send a message soon. He should be careful what he says. Right. He's a young politician. Politics is not like what he knows. The godfathers of politics are closely related.
I haven't insulted Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo.
This one here from... okay, Simons, I've heard your message. I've seen your message. Thank you. Sani Saliu, same. And Kwesi Baini says that... oh, okay, Kwesi, I've also received your message. Thank you very much. Now, Prince Harry from Koforidia says that... okay, all right, Prince is about the same. I think it's about the sound matter. A lot of people have been very worried about the fact that we went off sound at some point. Anyway, so let me end with this one, and then I can bring Gabriela in. So, okay, so Sani is back. Sani Saliu is back. Says, and there are other NB people who have made more disparaging remarks than Frimpong Boateng. Kindly find out from Kofi Tonto the windows of disciplining the party member. Does this start from the party's disciplinary committee or other bodies? The disgruntled members are one too many. No thanks to the blah blah to help Dr. Baumia. Good morning, Sani Salu. I didn't get that last bit. If you can come back, I'll be happy. All right, so Gabriela, please end it for me.
Let the record. Go ahead. Let Gabriela.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm told there's some, I don't know what I can call it, evidence to basically either dismiss or confirm what you said. So this one is from Alhaji Osman, who says Nyaho Tamaklo is no longer an MPP member. I want to find out which Alhaji Osman is this. I'm not too sure which Alhaji Osman is this. So Nyaho Tamaklo's name is not in MPP's founding members register. Kofi Ofosu Nkansa. Okay, he's used to be with the NEIP, and I think at some point the Accra Digital Center. That's Kofi Ofosu Nkansa. And then which other publication again? So this one is from Ghana Web. Okay, Haruna Mohammed, who's the Deputy General Secretary, so he was on Joy, who says Professor Frimpong Boateng will be expelled from the party, and there's no doubt about that. Yeah, but you have Professor Frimpong. Yes, but you see, this is why I have a bit of a challenge. You put a matter before the National Executive Committee or
you've already concluded.
And you've already said the man is going to be expelled.
Yeah, so for me, Moro,
he could have waited.
Moro.
Oh, it's a fight. Okay, so let's listen. Let's listen to this.
And Nyaho Tamaklo is not a founding member of the Patriotic Party, and nobody should describe him as such. He's no longer a member of the party, per what he said by himself, that he was not. I was a member of the MPP until Mahama came into the scene. He said so in 2023, and that should be put on record. And Nyaho Tamaklo is not a founding member of the Patriotic Party, and nobody should describe him as such. He's no longer a member of the party, per what he said by himself, that he was not, I was a member of the MPP until Mahama came into the scene. He said so in 2023, and that should be put on record. And Nyaho Tamaklo is not a founding member.
Wow. So indeed, how does that?
Yeah, where should come for something?
No, but hold on. But here's the thing. Gabriela, wow, it's unfortunate. We have just 5 minutes to go. But just a quick one. And this, I'm just been thinking. How was it impossible to invite Professor Frimpong Boateng, the likes of Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, to say, what really are your concerns? How do we address them?
First of all, when it comes to Professor Frimpong Boateng,
yes,
I have said to you that if I were the General Secretary, I would have taken a different position. I wouldn't want to litigate the position of my party.
Okay, that's fine.
So
that's fine.
I'll leave it there.
That's fine.
So
let me bring in Gabriela now.
When it comes to Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, I'm sure he's watching.
Yes.
Chairman, into the bang.
Okay.
Come on.
Gabriela, please wrap it up.
He doesn't want to end the wrath of his party and lose his Bawumia aid position. You know, in response to my point about Bawumia being a protege to Nenado, he came up with 3 other names. Edukum. Again, forgive me if I don't have your title. The politics we run with surnames, so yeah, forgive me. Edukum, Canadian, Japan, Brian. According to him, all these are proteges of Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
But interestingly, Nenado chose to run with Bawumia 3 times, not his other proteges.
Now, what kind of argument is this?
No, there's a difference.
How is this an argument?
There's a difference. You said they are all proteges, but there was one who was deliberately chosen on 3 occasions.
Somebody picks
so he was special.
Somebody picks a person.
I didn't interrupt when you were talking.
And then the person
you can continue when I
going
finish.
on a contest with him. How is changing him?
3 times.
Oh, what are you talking about?
3 times. So he was special to Nana Akufo-Addo. And then again, if Honorable Frimpong Boateng compares himself to Akufo-Addo and says Akufo-Addo was bad. Yes, Akufo-Addo was bad. Akufo-Addo from 2020, in the beginning, he was good. Then from 2020, he went, and Akufo-Addo, 800,000 of our comrades, fellow citizens of Ghana, were pushed into extreme poverty because he and his finance minister that he refused to sack, and Bawumia, his protege, who he has run 3 times with and is pushing to become flag bearer, could not manage this country's economy and left us with inflation of 54%. Akufo-Addo was bad. Akufo-Addo was bad.
You throw out 38%, now 54%.
But it went 54, and that was no. I'm making reference to the time when 800,000, and this is UN data. This is UN data that said that 800,000 people had been pushed into extreme poverty because of high inflation, and that inflation was under them. And Akufo-Addo, who is supposed to be good, but he was bad. And Akufo-Addo, our senior citizens who had spent over 30-40 years working to contribute to the development of our country and had chosen to save and invest their funds in government bonds, ended up with haircuts that even our Chief Justice had to join demonstrators on the streets of Accra just to fight for their meager pensions and savings. Akufo-Addo, who was a member of that generation, did not even find pity. He didn't even empathize with senior citizens. So Akufo-Addo was bad. Then Moro, he said, Brian managed 40% of the economy. Akufo-Addo trusted Brian so much. Yes, and Akufo-Addo was still bad. That under his watch, Brian staged a hostile takeover of our prime hotels. And our president, who was bad, actually said he saw nothing wrong with it. The man that was giving 40% of the economy to manage. The man that was giving 40%
what argument are you making?
Did he make a move on our hotels? It took the trade unions and Ablakwa and citizens of Ghana to fight to get our hotels back.
Okay.
So yes, the man was bad.
Please give me a few minutes.
And Baumia, 38% is protégé. He would be equally bad.
Moses Kanduri says I should say hello.
Hey, Moses,
he will say hello to me.
Yeah, he said to you.
Moses.
This is what Moses Kanduri says. Moses said, Gabriela Tete, you dey Ghana. I'm still sitting where you left me. Oh, Tonto, you're a fine man. Change your ways. I love you all. Our time is up.
I like that.
Thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana. Bye-bye.
Let's talk about Black.